Vulcan Soapbox.
It's your show, Vulcan. Come on, man.
I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
What's the deal, good people? All my Vokes out there. Excited for the show today. This is the Vulcan Soapbox, where we prioritize logic and critical thinking skills, and just as important, if not more important, good listening skills. I was at an event recently, and I was talking to some people who were very intellectual and erudite and all that good stuff, but the listening skills were terrible. And I'm like, I'd rather take somebody with half the IQ and twice the listening skills. So on this show, we try to do both at a high level. And if we're not doing it, hold us accountable to that. So we got a really good panel here. I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves with Vulcan Soapbox. We'll start out with my man, Wicked Dreams. Go and introduce yourself. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, I'm just Wicked Dream. Having here, have a good time with you guys, have a good conversation, try to figure out, a little bit deeper into thought on certain situations, see if I can learn something, you guys can learn something, just trying to find, where you guys are about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Will, my man, back on the show.
Already, man. Nice to be back. Peace to the panel and shit. Let's chop it up, man.
My man, T Reason.
What's going on, fellas? I look forward to tonight's conversation. Hopefully we can get into some interesting topics, maybe even have a good debate or two here and there. Dane is on the pod, so I won't be surprised if we don't have any good debates tonight if we get off topic. But I definitely look forward to seeing where we take the show. I know Vulcan's got some pretty good questions lined up for us, so it should be interesting. It's good to see y'all back on the panel. I know it's been a little minute, but we'll keep it rolling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uncle Tiger.
Yeah, I'm just a guy on the internet, man. Thank you guys for having me. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. And then we got the Big Daddy Pod. Dane, what's the word?
Man, I am happy. Can't tell you how happy I am to be here, back on the podcast. We had podcast Streamicus interrupt us last week. Me and Wicked, we was ready to go, but somebody, I guess you didn't get your top button, man. It didn't take off.
Popped off.
Whatever, but I'm happy to be here. I know tonight, a little thumbnail, we're gonna be talking about a subject that it's gonna be a little sensitive and everything, but I'm sure we can get through it, and hopefully we can work through some things and come to some understanding. But I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me, and I want to know what's for dinner.
Yes, sir. And okay, I'm the Vulcan here, ready to do exciting show. Everybody in the comments, like and subscribe. If you want to be on the panel, let us know. We can shoot you the link. There's an open discussion. We welcome all perspectives. So I want to say this show right here is not going to be as linear as in the past, or I'm not going to be as strict on, staying on the topic. I have questions lined up just to keep us somewhat targeted, but it's going to be really just be a conversation about the Nolan Wells situation. Everybody be to share their perspectives on it. But at the same time, again, so I'm going to have questions to keep us aiming to a certain direction or our trajectory on the right path. But at the end of the day, we're going to be to talk about everything. And so if you have any questions you want to add to it, after we cover the main question, we can add that to it before we go to the next one if need be. So I'm excited for the show. Like, subscribe. Y'all, let's get this show rocking. So we got the first question coming in. And the first question is, before we get into the neat details of it, if everybody can just kind of state for themselves in like a minute and a half or less, just what is their takeaway for everybody involved, whether it's, the America at large, the white community, the black community, Hispanic community, just the different communities, anything you would like to say in like a minute or less, just what is a takeaway you have before we get into the conversation on different takeaways, just what takeaway do you have? And so we'll start off with my man, T Reason. Go ahead and just give a minute and a half, let us know what takeaways you have of the whole situation.
Man, Black Lives Matter. I mean, obviously we have a tragic situation where we're seeing a kid who went on a trip and didn't come back home. His families wants answers. We want to know what really happened. When you have people around you who are supposed to be friends, they should have an idea of what took place. It's very rare we see situations where people get stranded or left behind, but when we see it, something just seems a little bit off. Certain things that normally should be in place aren't in place. You know what I mean? Certain checks and balances, certain things that are supposed to happen just as a formality, just to be on the safe side. Those things didn't take place here. You know what I mean? And it leaves us with more questions than answers to the entire situation. You know, it's a severe situation. My heart
You still
goes
got a
out
minute
to the
left, just so
family.
you know. You still got a minute left.
Yeah, my heart goes out to the family. You know, it's a very tragic event. But from what I've seen, you know, I feel like they did a poor job as far as with the investigation. I feel like they jumped to conclusions too soon, and I feel like there should have been more questions asked to everybody involved. I think they should have did a better job as far as like to figure out what's going on. But I think what's done in the dark eventually gonna come to the light.
Got you. Got you. Cool, cool. All right, Uncle Tiger, what do you have on the situation?
Well, I think any loss of life is a tragedy. I think everybody wants to get to the bottom of what happened. And if there's foul play, we want to see, you know, justice be served. But right now it's still pretty early, and I think, like T Reason said, I think a lot of people are jumping the gun before we've got all of the facts laid out. It's still pretty early on, so all we can do is just wait for the investigation to, you know, figure it out.
Yes, sir. All right, Will, what you got, big dog?
Man, so many takeaways on so many levels, you know, that's still developing, but just initially looking at it, I mean, you have, you know, lessons about friendship. You know, you have I guess lessons for parents about how involved to be with your children, who they hang with, how well do you know what's going on. I think some of the old wounds of you know, racial interactions, especially in a state like Mississippi, you know, it forced people to look at a lot of other, you know, a lot of other things that go along with how policing is handled, how certain dynamics in power structure can lead to how strings can be pulled, you know what I'm saying, and manipulated depending on the money, the power, or, you know, dare I say, the complexion for the connection for the protection, as some people would say. You know, so a lot of these things you can look at, man, it's so complex. You know, a lot of situations are, but you know, when I think about this situation, all of that comes flooding the mind, and you know, it's a lot to take away from this situation on so many levels.
Got you. All right, Wicked, what you got, big dog?
I think my biggest thing is, I think it's the saddest part is the very first thing that happens is everybody's like, it's because he's white, it's because he's black, and it automatically jumps to race without anything even being known. I think it's the saddest part, besides him losing his life, obviously takes the cake. I think it needs to get looked into? Yes, but I think the people jumping to the conclusion of it's because he was black and because they were white and automatically making it a race issue before anything comes out is the saddest thing to even happen, because why are you automatically making it into a race situation? That's the part that I don't like.
All right, Dane, what you got?
What do I have? I got plenty. You know, I got plenty to say. But here's my here's my position. Okay, because as you know, and T Reason knows, I don't know how many other people on the panel know. I live just a few miles from Horn Island. I grew up in Pascagoula. You can stand at Pascagoula's beach and look south, and you can see the trees of Horn Island on the horizon. So I'm very familiar with the island, and I'm very familiar with the community. I'm very familiar with the Wells family, not Nolan, not his mother and father, but his cousins and aunts and uncles and that sort of stuff, and everything. So when I say it's a little personal for me, I don't mean that I knew Nolan and he was my friend or nothing. But I'm just saying this is the community I live in. I live in the edge of Alabama, but I moved over here after Hurricane Katrina. I got so many takeaways. Hopefully we can get into as we debate. But what I see, the number one biggest issue that's going on right now is people are reading into the situation their own imaginations. They imagine things Like Will was saying about the history of the state of Mississippi and stuff, and then they impose that into this situation where it may not be. And like, T. Reason said something about the investigation wasn't done well enough or whatever. Well, we don't have any idea how well the investigation has been done because it hasn't been released yet. So there's a whole bunch of these sort of things that have been figured up and imposed in, and it's imagined, and because the DA is not releasing the information, then people are making decisions based on what they don't know and not based on what they do know. And that's what I try to do. I try to look for evidence to believe a certain thing and not the lack of my evidence. And now I can fill in that blank and then I can have a conclusion.
Well, let me interject right there because, you took the words out of the prompt's mouth right there, Dane, on that one. The first question we got is, do you believe the investigation has been corrupted? And that would include the coroner stuff, everything that's leading up to it. So we want to have everybody give their perspective. So how are we going to do it on this show, especially it's just me, freshly on here. First, we're going to go around, everybody give their perspective. We just got to be patient, in a minute or less, just kind of give your perspective. And then we're going to go around. People can state their disagreements. And after that, we get into the cross-examination. Just so everybody get a chance to get their full thoughts out on it, especially because everybody has strong opinions on this one. So the first one we got is, do you believe the investigation has been corrupted? And we will start off with Will. What you got, my man?
Yeah. I definitely believe the investigation has been corrupted, from the jump, from the inception. Once you come out and you set the tone to say that we don't see any foul play has taken place here before the autopsy has even been done, before a real investigation has even begun. You're already letting it be known that the benefit of the doubt or the benefit to get out is going to be in the favor. It's kind of like a dog whistle almost. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion. What happened?
How you got?
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's a dog whistle. You're putting it out there and trying to implant the innocence before you've even done due diligence. Like, who does that? And then, like you said, somebody just mentioned the autopsy and things like that being sent up to DC, and not everything is there to even make a conclusive, finding on his actual cause of death. It all seemed funny style to me from the jump, and it's a lot of hand tipping if you look at it.
We got you.
Come on, man. Like we cannot forget this is Mississippi. We need an old school on here who was still alive. I know one was living during that era. Break it on down. Like people still walk the planet that can really touch that. And so
yes, sir.
Those things are still here. Like,
okay, so appreciate that, Will. We're gonna have Uncle Tiger, what you got on him?
Well, I mean,
on the topic of do you believe there's been some kind of corruption so far in the investigation?
Well, we don't know. I mean, I don't think so. I mean, if any corruption, I think like bringing in the Al Sharptons and the Ben Crumps and all of that, I think that could perhaps be perceived as corruption. But right now it's still very, very early on. We only know what we know, and the investigation is ongoing. I think there's an assumption that there is already corruption based on, like Will says, oh, we're inserting innocence. It's like, okay, nobody's inserting anything, right? We don't know yet, right? This is still being investigated, right? If there is foul play, I think everybody wants to make sure that justice is served, but we don't know that there is foul play. As far as I know, we operate under the assumption that everybody is innocent until they are proven guilty. So that would be that's my take.
Gotcha. Okay, Wicked. What about for yourself?
Kind of similar. It's like until the investigation is fully complete, I really can't say if there is or is not corruption, because I don't know what are the proper steps that they should be taking towards this in specific investigation. And then just to touch on the part that you said real quick about the parts missing in the coroner, do you know that the parts that were missing are standard procedure of removing when doing an autopsy? So it's not like that's something suspicious. when you're doing an autopsy, those parts that were removed and stuff like that,
Can I
that's just
answer that?
general practice.
Hold on, we'll
Can
get
I
to that part. Let him finish his point. After
I got
everybody
too many
Oh.
things I gotta remember from Uncle Tiger, and then from him.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Where's your
too
pen
many
and
things
paper?
I gotta.
Okay, well, get a pen and paper, write
That's
it down,
fine.
or learn how to
I
have
got
a better brain.
all
How
I
about
got
that?
all that. I got all
Yes,
that.
sir.
Like,
Yes,
come on
sir.
now, like,
Listen,
let's make this
we
make sense,
understand.
'cause right
We
now,
are. We
y'all
understand.
already
We
starting
understand. You
off
want to
on the
talk.
wrong footing. Y'all already
How
starting off
about
on the wrong footing.
how about you just
It's
shut your mouth
annoying.
for a second and let somebody talk? It's
Why
annoying. What's annoying is you
don't
not being able to
continue
shut your
saying what
mouth.
you're
That's
saying
what's
and
annoying.
tell the
hold
person
on,
what to do?
T.
Why
Reason,
don't
What's
you go ahead
annoying
and
is you
do
not
what
being
you're
able to
supposed
shut
to
your
do?
mouth, because
No,
that's what's
what's
annoying.
annoying is you
See,
trying to
what I'm
spaz
trying
out
to, I'm
when
trying
I'm
to
just
do.
giving you
How am I
information.
hold on.
Go ahead and speak. Go
What
ahead and
you're
say
doing?
what you need
No.
to say.
How can I talk when you're talking over me like you normally do all the time? Every time Dane talks, you want to talk over him. Every
It's
time
on
I
you,
talk, you want to
Wicked. You
talk
got
over
it.
me.
It's on you.
Just all I'm saying is that there are certain standard procedures that are taken out. So those are things to look into, not just automatically assume. But as far as it comes to the investigation being corrupted, I don't know what the standard procedure is in order to have this investigation and the steps that they're doing or not doing until really the investigation is complete. Then you can kind of look into the steps that are taken. But how can you know if something is being done wrong if it's not completed yet?
Got you. Okay, cool. Appreciate that. Okay, so Dane, what about for yourself, my man? What you got? So the question being is,
Man,
do you believe the investigation's been corrupted?
man,
Say whatever you want to say, and then
just staying in the guardrails of my original statement earlier. I don't think that there's enough information been released publicly for me to even have an opinion as to whether or not it's been corrupted. Now, I've seen a lot of the stuff people are saying on social media, like Will has said and T Reason has said about what about this, that, and the other, but all of those questions are second, third, fourth-hand information from just random people online who claim that they know this, that, and the third, and it could be true, could not be true. Somebody, Big Ward in my chat, just asked me what I thought about the new audio recording that this supposedly sound engineer had cleaned up, and it sounds like the kids on the boat, the guys on the boat, are talking about Nolan while the driver was calling Cito and all that kind of stuff, and he was asking me about that. It's like I told him, if that audio recording is shown to be authentic and foul play is proven, I'll be one of the loudest voices calling for justice. But where I'm standing, all of this stuff of, what about this, that, and the third, it's stuff that's been heard online. It's basically gossip. And it's people that are filling in the blanks, of, well, this is what I heard, that's what I heard. And they fill in those blanks with their own imagination, and they don't have any reason to believe that those claims are true, other than the fact that they don't know what is true. And they don't know what is true because it's like the DA explained, they're not going to release this information until the grand jury has had a chance to review it and either issue an indictment or no bill. I mean, that's where it's at. I just, as a grown man, I'm saying I don't know enough yet to have an opinion about the investigation. And I challenge anybody who would say the investigation has been corrupted. I would challenge them to tell me everything they know about the investigation that they know provably so.
Can I tell you?
Not
So
what.
So hold on.
I saw it on
We're gonna get
social
into it real
media.
quick.
I saw it on.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan. Go finish.
No, I was going to say, not just I saw it on social media or I heard, something that somebody said, but something that to be a fact that's been verified.
Got you.
That would tell you that.
Cool. So we got Coach Andre on. You came in at the right time. We going around. So I'm gonna put the question back up there so you can prepare for the question. We got T Reason going next right here. So T Reason, it's on you.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how much stuff we see happening right in front of our face. We know how investigations take place. And the fact that it's been going on for this long and we still don't have answers to basic questions that we typically have on day one. You understand what I'm saying? So for people to say, well, we shouldn't make this a race issue or people shouldn't jump to conclusions. Like, are you kidding me? That's just crazy to even say that, because you got to look at it from both sides. If this was a different scenario, let's say, you switch everything around, the Nolan Wells is a white kid and then these are a whole bunch of black kids. They're going to be taken into investigation. They're going to be sat down and they're going to be asked several questions to try to figure out what took place. Ain't nobody going home that day. Ain't no deleting social media, deleting text messages, none of that. Ain't no washing of no boat, and all of the information that we have, all of it looks suspicious. You see what I'm saying? So as far as with the investigation for the body, right? They're saying, well, there was a standard procedure. Okay, well, why wasn't that explained when the body was being shipped that these components are going to be missing? That should be something
Because
that's
coroners
already
know that.
no,
Yeah,
but it
hold
should still be a common practice to vocalize that to the people that are involved. Yet you're trying to get a second autopsy. We're gonna have to have these parts removed, and then they say, "Well, look, this is what we'll do. We'll finish our investigation, and then we'll hand over these parts to you guys as well." That's not being done, so it's like an improper handoff of a second investigation. If you're going to do a second investigation, the people doing the second investigation should know you're going to be missing the throat and organs. It should be understood. And then they should say, well, how can we make it to where we could get a second opinion? Oh, well, we'll freeze these organs so that way y'all can look at them after we're done. And then we have somebody involved to make sure that those are the exact organs from Nolan Wells and not like a switcheroo or anything like that could potentially happen. And then for people to say, well, we got to leave it up to the investigation as though an investigation can't be done wrong or investigations haven't been wrong. We're just
got you. Appreciate that, T-Reason. Appreciate that. All right, Coach Andre, it's on you, my man. We dealing with the Nolan Wells situation right now. Do you believe there's been any kind of corruption in the investigation on the coroner's part, on the police, anybody that's been involved on this? What's your thoughts on that?
To be honest, a couple of things. Number one, I haven't been following it too much, but what I will say is that anytime that it's dealing with white and black, there's always going to be corruption somewhere involved, in my personal opinion, just based on what we've seen in the past. I do agree with what the brother has, both the brothers before me just spoke. One, we haven't heard a lot of information, but two, the last man said the reason why we probably haven't heard a lot of information is because they're trying to cover up what's really going on. So I do understand that there is definitely more time that needs to be had for things to be uncovered and unfolded, but I do believe that there's been foul play on some part. There has been a friend that has come forth saying that he's a witness to what some information that he has that has been not yet released. So I do think that there's something going on there that they're trying to find how to let the public know what's going on, but let them know what's really going on. So I just do believe that there's some kind of foul play going on, and it's nothing new. We're used to this in America with three Ks where the C should be. So it is what it is.
Appreciate that, Coach. So yeah, we have now everybody knows everybody's perspective on this right now. I think it's get into the cross examination right now and get into the more weightier things. So starting off right now, I'm picking somebody right now to be able to start the conversation off, and so we'll go with Wicked. Where do you want to go with this? Anybody want to cross-examine?
So I just got a quick question. Are you guys under the assumption that it was just like him and a few white guys on an island by themselves and there was like nobody else there? Because that's how the picture is painted. So you realize that there are hundreds of boats there, hundreds of people, so many things. The boat that they were on is so visible. If there was a body or something going on there, you would see it. They were literally, even when they called for the tow, they're literally on the shoreline, surrounded by by hundreds of people. Like there's literally hundreds of people around.
What's your point? What is your point?
So my point is don't you think that like the way that they would be acting would be a little bit more suspicious, and there would be some kind of other like people around there that would have more evidence to instead of it being portrayed as they're by themselves?
No, absolutely not. If you're dealing with a cover-up, why would it be more suspicious? If they had enough time to do all the things we know they had enough time to do, first of all, let me ask you this: why are their social medias deleted?
Well,
didn't
if
do
you had
anything
people,
wrong,
hold on a second.
if they
If
didn't
you
do
had
anything
people,
wrong, if they didn't do anything
if you
wrong, why
had,
would they delete their
would you like
social
me to
media
answer?
accounts?
Do you want to
Yes.
ask me the same
Yes.
question 3 times, or would you like me to answer?
I just
Or
want
do you
you
want
to
to ask me
answer.
one more time? Well, I was trying to, but you keep asking the same question. So, would you like to ask
Yeah,
one more time, or do you want me to answer?
Yeah, absolutely. Why was
Go
their
ahead, ask
social
it again.
media deleted? Because there's no good answer.
Okay,
for it.
let's.
So it doesn't matter what you say.
Well, okay, so you're gonna say,
anyway.
Teresa, you gonna let him answer?
Dude, listen.
Yeah, I'll let him
Are you
answer.
gonna let me
Answer
answer,
it.
or are you actually
Answer
gonna?
it. Answer
How
it. Go
about you?
ahead and answer the question. How about you shut up and answer the question?
You're the one who keeps talking. Do you realize how stupid you look
I
right now
just said
telling me to
answer
shut up
the
while you
question.
keep talking?
I just said
Are we
answer
here
the
to-
question, and you're still
Holy
talking
crap.
about the fact that
Okay, yeah,
Are we
let's
here to
let's
actually
reset.
have
Let's
a
reset.
conversation
Dude,
and
go
exchange,
ahead.
or are we just here to yell
Seriously.
at each other?
Yeah.
He just can't shut up, can he? It's like
I
a
mean-
you
fucking
can't
woman
shut
half
up
the
and
time.
answer the question.
Look
If
at
you gotta
him.
Yeah,
keep
go
saying
ahead.
shut
Go ahead
up,
and answer the question.
then you
Yeah.
answer the
Dude.
question. You
All right,
got
go ahead.
Okay, I'll give you.
answer the question.
Holy crap! Calm down, lady. Okay. What you need to understand is, are you gonna say?
And answer the question?
See?
Don't throw in ad hominems or jazz.
Do you know what an ad hom is? Because I didn't throw an ad hom at you.
Yeah, you
if
called
you know
me
what
a
that is.
girl. You called me
That's
a
not
woman.
an ad hom. That's an insult,
That is
you
an ad hom.
dumbass.
What is
Yeah,
an ad
let's
hominem?
Look
Yeah,
up,
go ahead,
please.
go ahead,
Let's
go
go.
ahead.
Let's go sidetrack. What's an ad hom, real quick? Then tell me.
An insult.
Let's sidetrack real quick. Tell me what
An
an ad hom
insult.
is. Let's go ahead and
An
make yourself
insult.
look stupider.
An insult has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. It's way off
An
topic.
ad hom is me insulting you
Oh,
as an
yeah.
answer to the,
Yes.
to the question. It is not me just insulting you.
T-Reason
Okay,
here does that
so
a
let me
lot.
go back to your question.
He
Answer the
spurts
question.
out.
You could have easily answered
I'm
the question
trying-
for a long time. You still
But
I
haven't
could
But
answer
you
the
see,
answered.
question.
right
You're
now, he's
still,
gonna do that the
dude.
whole stream.
So yeah,
shut
let me
up.
let me go ahead and go.
Seriously.
That's the only thing you
Shut
gotta say.
up.
That's the only thing
I'm
you gotta
trying
do
to
is tell
answer your-
somebody
Yeah,
to
let me-
shut up. Why don't you answer the question and
Dude.
stop?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because
go
you
ahead.
keep crying like a
Go ahead,
woman.
we get-
Holy
Nobody's
crap.
crying. Do you see any tears in my eyes? Nobody's crying.
If
You're
you-
bitching like a little girl. Stop
Well,
crying.
yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and
Answer the
get
question.
Yeah, are we on
It's-
stream just to hear folks argue back and forth the whole
Yeah, let's
time,
go
or are
and
we
get-
going to actually have a
Will-
discourse?
I don't even know what his question.
What's happening?
Yeah, Will, what you got? What you got?
Oh man, I was still kind of stuck a little bit on that last question. I hadn't fully processed the information coming
Do you
back.
believe the investigation has been corrupted? That one?
Nah. I got the question, just some of the dialogue from the answers when we was going,
Okay.
and the information didn't jive with my understanding. Like
Okay.
as far as the body being dissected from the first autopsy to the second one. From all the medical professionals that I listened to, that I heard, that being standard procedure to withhold it and things like that, especially those body parts, and in a lot of instances, just out of courtesy, but it may be by law to notify the family that you're going to be shipping a body without all of the parts intact. Or if they had to hold something back, to further dissect and run tests, things like that would be in the paperwork. I mean, to really send his body, but not really give what's conclusive to say whether or not, this was a drowning or not. We would have to look that up to see if that's really accurate what y'all saying. I don't think, the stomach, the lungs, and, the inner throat and things like that, all of that for a second independent autopsy, I don't know if that's accurate on that part. And then one more. When we were saying, what is it that we know and not what we heard from hearsay on the internet? The sheriff himself was the one that came out initially and said, we see no signs of foul play before things even got initiated. Unless that was AI. I mean, was that piss digital?
No.
Yeah, so yeah,
Dane, do you think?
Dane, you go ahead and come in. I'm gonna come back to Wicked and T Reason on this as well. But go ahead, Dane.
And also, on my bad, not to cut you off, fam, but also the other kid's mom, Warren, I think his name is Warren, who happened to be his stepmom is a judge or something like that. She coming out making statements on his behalf and his innocence, but at the same time probably incriminating him by mixing up the timeline. She said 2 different timelines. So all of that to be involved, and then the body parts are not. I mean, I don't see how it doesn't smell.
We got you. Okay, Dan, yeah, go and get in there.
As far as Jackson County Sheriff Ledbetter over there is concerned, I've heard that said a lot. When he came out before there was an autopsy and investigation and said and said we don't see any foul play or whatever. And there's been a lot made out of that. However, if you think about it from his perspective, he's the sheriff. They found Nolan's body. There wasn't any signs of like exterior trauma to him. Okay, they found his body. What he was saying is based on what they saw, because this was just a few hours after his body was found. Based on what they saw and the information they had at that moment, they didn't see a reason to say that they suspected foul play. Now, that's been misconstrued into Sheriff Ledbetter saying, we don't see a reason to believe there's foul play, so we're closing the case and we're done and we're going home. And that part of it's been read into what Sheriff Ledbetter said. They asked him, what do you think happened? I don't have the quote in front of me, but essentially what he said was we found his body. We don't suspect foul play because they didn't see evidence of foul play. But
feel free to interject, Will, if you want.
He wasn't saying we're closing the investigation.
I mean, I just feel like in any investigation, unless there's signs of, foul play just blatant, that's what the investigation is for. Let's see. You know what I mean? Like I heard his body wasn't waterlogged to say, okay, he drowned. He could just be on the beach. Somebody could have gave him a jab with a needle and took him out of there. Like we really don't know. We don't even know if it's drowning.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing about how he wasn't waterlogged, but I don't know like that. But let me give you a comparative case. Ahmaud Arbery up in, I think it was South Carolina a year or two ago, where the McMichaels took it on themselves, the McMichaels and some other neighbor, that Ahmaud was supposedly, they thought, burglarizing a home that was under construction. They took it on themselves. I think it was vigilantism, and they grabbed their guns and they got in their pickup truck and they took off and they got in an altercation with Ahmaud Arbery, ended up shooting him at point blank range, laid him down dead right there in the street. And then months and months and months and months went by as the DA and all said, well, that's a stand your ground. That's self-defense. When I saw the video, I'm saying that don't look like self. You can't chase someone down and claim self-defense. Okay, so when social media got involved and there started being a lot of press coverage, they had to reopen the case. The McMichaels went to prison. That's not what's going on. What seems to be going on with Nolan. When the sheriff said just a few hours after finding the body, we don't see any. We don't suspect foul play. He wasn't saying that he was going to do like that DA and that sheriff in South Carolina did and say, we're done, we're out of here. That's something that's been read into what he said. Because if you went back and you looked, there was no time after that the investigation wasn't being conducted. All he was saying is basically, we just found the body. Nothing looks injured or out of the way other than he's dead, so we don't suspect foul play. Maybe he should have at the end of that said at this time, but that's what he said, and it's been interpreted to mean that he was closing the case like in South Carolina, and that wasn't what was happening.
Yeah, let me bring Tiger and Coach Dre in here real quick, and then we can get back to T Reason and Wicked. So y'all got any thoughts on what's been said so far? Anything?
Oh man, I just feel like for them to be so like you said, you wish more information was released to the public, and they were more forthright with what they found. So for them to be so mum at this point,
I
that was doing a lot of statement early on. That was a lot of talking. Like he said a lot with that one sentence to not be saying so much right now. Like saying that and putting that out there, to me, it says a lot. And when you follow it up with what we're seeing as far as, like I said, the stepmom coming out, proclaiming her son's innocence, giving false times, but also, I don't know how true it is, but I was watching Willie D. Willie D was showing how the tip information line down there was directly linked to that kid Warren's mom, the judge. The numbers were supposed to be reversed, but when they listed it, they listed her number. So he called him live on air and spoke to the lady, and she was talking about the mix-up. It sounded legitimate. So when you mix all that in a gumbo pot, I mean, it really tastes like, yo, they moving in a certain fashion. In
Gotcha.
it's dog whistles and people trying to get you
Appreciate
to
you,
buy
Will.
into something early. Like I think
I got you, Will. I want to bring
okay, my bad.
Coach and Uncle Tiger in real quick here. So y'all, either one of y'all got any comments y'all want to make based off what you've heard so far? Anything you want to say?
There's a young lady in law enforcement by the name of Pamela A. Smith. And Pamela A. Smith is a young lady that went viral for a speech that she did where she literally uncovered how law enforcement was doing a couple of things. Number one, they were covering up some of the criminal offenses of Caucasian males, and they were skewing numbers of Caucasian incidents and adding them to African Americans. She found evidence to support her claim, and after this happened, she was fired or forced to retire after 28 years in law enforcement. I have nothing else to say after that.
You know what I'm saying?
You can look into
Like
it.
I don't know.
Her name is Pamela A. Smith. Look into it. It's there.
But
She
we
found
got some of the guys
evidence
on the
and she-
panel that
she
would
was
be
forced
blind
to
and,
retire.
and act like they don't see it. And
Yeah,
They
so
don't
Thank
want-
you. Thank
Hold on,
you.
hold on.
That's-
They don't
Hold
want-
on.
they don't
I
want
want
to
to
see
give Wicked a chance to respond to that, and then Dane.
Hold on a
So
second.
Dane,
At
so
what
Wicked and
point have
Dane,
any
like
of
what y'all
us-
got to say on that?
At what point have any of us ever said that there are no bad cops that don't do anything? Never once have any of us said that. So
That's
for you to even
my point.
say that just shows how stupid
you
you are,
always miss
T.
the point. You spazzing out. The only person stupid is the one Wicked Dreams that's talking right now. You spazzing out. Nobody said that.
How-
You just assumed.
How is that
you just
spazzing out?
assumed-
You're the
you
one who
literally
keeps
just-
raising your voice
your first-
and getting
because
all
your first
freaky and
statement-
getting all loud.
Because your first statement was you arguing with yourself. You said
I'm
not
on.
anyone on
I'm
this panel
spazzing out.
has said that foul play and cops don't do bad things. That's not what
When
we were
did we
saying.
say that?
You whatever you just said, you completely missed the point. Like you completely missed what we were trying to explain.
You
completely
just said
missed
that.
it.
There's people on this panel who would never see that. That would interpretate as we would never see cops doing bad things, which would mean that there are no bad cops. Do you know how to logically entail?
What he just said was very specific, and it wasn't about cops in general. He said this woman discovered something and she got let go after she discovered something. That's the issue. It's not that cops are good or bad. What you're saying, what we're saying is this woman was working and she found something that needed to come out. The truth was coming to the
Okay,
light.
yeah, it's a bad thing.
And you missed that.
Okay, and how did I miss
You're trying
that?
to reduce
Yes,
it
it's
to
a bad thing.
ridiculous
What does that
talking
have to
about
do?
and. It is no and. It ain't no and to that. What do you mean and?
Yeah,
Like you're
she
trying
did
to
something
reduce-
good. She did something good. Something bad happened to her. And what does that have to do with what we're talking
She did
about?
something very specific. She did something very specific. She didn't do just something
She
good.
showed cops that are bad. But what does that have? And that's what that's what he did. That's what he's doing.
And reduce to ridiculous what he just said. And I don't like the
And
fact
you're
that you were trying to do
generalizing
that.
as well, you dumbass. You're
No, I'm not
generalizing as well.
No, I'm not. I'm not generalizing. I'm literally being specific. I literally said what she did. You're saying,
okay,
oh, she's
and
good.
what is,
Oh, she's a good cop.
and
Oh, she
how
did
does that
something
relate?
good.
Vulcan.
Who said she was a good cop and
you
did something?
completely missed
I said
the point.
what she did was
How
good.
late are we going to
What
go,
happened to
Vulcan,
her was
arguing
bad.
about arguing?
So yeah, Dane, go and come in. What you got to say on this, Dane?
I mean, they arguing about arguing instead of arguing about the actual topic.
I try to argue about the
I'm
point,
just
but
saying
he
he
just
missed the
can't
point
understand
as
it.
usual. All I'm saying is he missed the
Okay,
point.
I'm not here
And
to
I'm tired of
argue.
him missing the point.
I'm not here to
He got
argue
2
with you
ears and
about
one
the
mouth, but
argument.
he want to talk.
Okay,
instead of
now he's
listen.
going to just keep right
Yeah,
on
yeah,
just
yeah. So,
arguing
yeah,
with
we
me
got-
That's
about
all
the
he
argument.
does. Every show, all he does is talk.
Oh, you crying.
Start
All you do
listening.
is
Yeah,
cry
let's,
and whine like a little girl.
Yeah, let's focus on this show.
Crying like a little
fellas.
girl
Let's
by
focus on this
pointing
show.
out how
What
much
you
of a
got,
woman
Dane?
you are.
Man, you started spazzing out.
See,
You started
it's,
spazzing out after he said what he said. You started.
You're the
spazzing
one
out.
raising your
We
voice.
We got your point,
I
T.
can
Region
raise
and
my
Wicked. We
voice.
got
I'm
your
a grown
point.
T,
man. I can
you're the
raise
one
my-
raising
Dang,
your
go ahead.
voice
I'm
and
a
getting
grown man.
upset.
I can raise my voice, especially when I'm talking to little boys like you. I'm
Yeah,
raise
Oh,
my
you need a
voice.
little
we got your
tissue.
Everything I'm saying to you,
Oh,
I'll say it in your
poor
face.
little lady.
You safe over
And I'll
here
say it
saying
to your
that.
face,
Let's get I gotta let's get Dane in on
I
this one.
guarantee
T.
you
Reason
wouldn't
and
talk to
Wicked.
me like this in person. I promise you that. I put everything I love on that.
Yeah. We got your point.
Listen.
T reason. It's on Dane now.
Ooh.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. I've almost forgotten what the point was, but
Yeah. We're on the corruption of the investigation.
yeah.
What you got?
Yeah, I was
And
going to
feel free to
respond.
cross-examine anybody. Anybody want to cross-examine anybody? You want to, speak to what they said? Talk to anybody directly. Feel free to do so.
I was going to respond to what Coach here said. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said after T Reason went off and all that kind of crap.
You got a bad memory. Step your memory.
At any rate, I think the dude is like some insects. I think he breathes through his exoskeleton. He don't even have to inhale. He can just get going, and he can go for hours and never take a breath. I don't know how he does it, man. It must be some gift from God. At any rate, what I'm trying to do in this situation when I look at it, because anybody who doubts me can go back and look at some of my old channel, especially if you go over to my Facebook where old folks like me hang out at doing things like the Arbery case and even Carmelo Anthony. You can go to my YouTube channel and you can see where I still stand on the fact that Carmelo Anthony was defending himself. And I've had black people and white people come at me for that. But my position is, and I even said on this stream, I think when we did Carmelo Anthony's streams, I even said, when Metcalf put his hand on Carmelo Anthony, that's assault and battery. Now, people could argue, well, it was just a little shove. It was still a shove. That's still assault battery. So, and I know it turned out, and Carmelo's in prison and all of that. And then the other video came out and that changed a lot of people's minds. And I understand all of that. But ultimately, when Metcalf put his hand on Carmelo Anthony, that was assault and battery, and it seemed like nobody really wanted to own up to that. I argued on this stream back then, we could argue out whether or not Carmelo overreacted to it. That's a whole different argument. Okay, so I'm saying all that to preface that I'm not here just to defend the white boys and write off the black dude. So if you were to ask me if there were corrupt officials, every state has corrupt officials. If you would ask me if they were corrupt people in law enforcement, and that, and the third, well, sure they are. But it goes back to, we could bring in all of these different things from history. Like if you would ask me, do black people have a reason to be suspicious? Well, yeah, sure they do. But if we're bringing in all of these things and we're reading it into the Nolan Wells case, and we're saying, because these people over here were changing records to make black people look bad or to hurt black people in some way or to send black people to prison who are innocent, because of this, that means that those guys that went out on that boat with Nolan, that they did something nefarious and caused him to die. That just doesn't logically wash. And that's what I'm looking at. And that's why when someone tells me Carmelo Anthony was not defending himself, the logic don't logic. If
let me ask this question real quick. Let me ask this: Does anybody want to cross-examine Dane? Not make a different point, but anybody want to cross-examine anything he says? Okay, we don't. Then okay, we're gonna go to the next one here. That was good. We covered that one pretty well. So the next one we have right here, and because I heard it mentioned earlier, so we're gonna get to it. Who has been more of a force for good in this situation? If you don't have a strong opinion, because maybe you haven't seen everybody, all the commentary on it, feel free to bow out on this one. We'll get you on the next topic. The next question coming up. But who has been more of a force for good in this situation? Officer Tatum or Al Sharpton? And I want to say this is not just about those two gentlemen. So Officer Tatum and the like, and Al Sharpton and the like. So, just to make it, you don't have to focus on just those guys in particular. So I want to give everybody a chance to give their perspective on it. Who do you pick has been more of a force for good in this situation? And then we'll get into the cross-examine afterwards. So we'll start off with you, Tiger. If you've seen it, you can bow out if you haven't seen any of these guys' commentary. But what's your thoughts on that? Uncle Tiger, you have to be on mute.
Sorry about that. We're good now. Yeah, I watched a little bit of Officer Tatum's interview with like one of the friends, like a whole 10 minutes. I haven't been following this very closely, but and let me just preface, I'm not a fan of Officer Tatum, but I definitely trust his word over an Al Sharpton, no doubt. I mean, Al Sharpton, he makes his living off of these sorts of situations. So
does Officer Tatum.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I love how nobody's interrupting you, but anytime anybody else talks, you interrupt it. But you know what? That's fine. Go ahead. I'm done.
All right. Well, so next we'll go to Dre, Coach Dre, I don't know if you've been able to see any of this stuff, but if you do, you have any thoughts on this one?
I got nothing for you, brother. Go on to the next.
Okay. All right. Will, what you got?
Man, Al Sharpton on this one. I gotta say it, man. You know what I'm saying? But anytime I get a sense that you want transparency, you want answers, and you're championing due process, you know, that's what I really want to see. I think Officer Tatum is he's giving those kids an opportunity to speak, I guess, but the fact that they're doing it with a guy like an Officer Tatum, you know what I'm saying? That speaks to me, but I just feel like, you know, the people that want the transparency and question why you interact with your best friend or his mom that way and all of that is questionable. And Al is on the other side, opposite of that. Like, you don't really move like that. If this your guy, you probably would have called his mama before you called. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we out here calling uncles and all that, like, why you ain't call his mama? You know what I'm saying? It'd be like, look, ma, we out here, we was wilding. Something wrong with Nolan. We finna, you know what I'm saying? And then to play with the phone and all that. Like, I can't really get down with that team. You know what I'm saying? So if Al is opposing that energy and like, yo, we just want the truth to come out. Let's get to it. Send the body over here. Let a couple people look at it. Let's lay all the chips on the table. I'm with that. Tatum ain't with that.
Got you. Appreciate that. Okay, so Dane, you go ahead. What you got on this?
Well, I think that a lot of people, some people, I mean, people on both sides, okay? Because, I mean, I've heard a lot of white people, especially in this area, that they taking one side just because of what they heard. She said, the other said as well. I think a lot of people, they're reading a lot of their own personal feelings and such. But I would challenge anybody who said that Al Sharpton or Bill Crump has been any kind of a force for good. I would like to hear them tell me what it is that Ben Crump or Al Sharpton got for the Wansleys that they would not have already had to begin with. Other than that GoFundMe account that I don't know what's it up to now. But last time I heard it was like $850,000. Other than that GoFundMe account, what is it that, for instance, I think Will just said something about due process. Right. Well, what is due process? Due process has been going on the whole time. You see, it's been going on the whole time, and
it has not. It has not. I'm sorry.
Okay, when was it not going on?
So you open it up to the cross. If you're okay with that, Dane, y'all doing the cross-examination?
I'm really not, but I'm really.
Oh, my bad, brother. My bad.
But it's up to y'all. If y'all want to go into it, if y'all want to use y'all time for that.
Let me say this, Will. Okay. I do it because I've already told my chat, man. You can go back and look at my stream. When you see me talking and you can't hear me because I'm talking to my chat because I'm streaming too. But I've already told them that I do. You do seem, at least thus far, to seem like you're here for a good faith discussion. Even though we probably, I can see we disagree on things. I do appreciate that. So no, I don't mind engaging with you. If you let me get like two or three more words out. But,
oh yeah, no, do your thing, bro. That was yeah. My bad.
Oh, that's no problem. But all I was gonna say is that, to my knowledge at least, and I keep reiterating that we don't really know much. We know like 5% maybe right now. But due process has been going on. But I just want to point out that those friends that went out there with him, and according to those guys, there were 3 boatloads of them. It wasn't just 3 or 4 friends. Those friends that went out there with him, they too deserve due process. But the same source of information that a lot of the things that some people are saying on this panel right now tonight, that same source of information has come out almost from July 6th. Well, really before that, but July 6th, when Nolan was found, saying that these white guys were somehow or another involved in it.
So, Dane, so for this, right, how is this connected to the Officer Tatum or Al Sharpton one, or if you can tie that in?
Well, no, I was responding. That part was a part where Will said about getting due process.
Okay, got you.
That was my point. Just ask you, what is it that Al Sharpton or Ben Crump has gotten for the Wansleys that they were not already getting or would not have gotten without them?
I'll tell you.
So hold on
tell
before you tell Will. Let's go and get Wicked in. Then we got to reason
my
after that.
bad,
Then
my
we,
bad.
then we can get into the exchange. We're gonna get
Well,
into
I
the
was
exchange.
excited to hear what Will had to say, but it's your
But
show.
yeah, we're gonna
Vulcan.
get to it. Make sure you have your notes. Okay, Wicked, it's on you, big dog.
I mean, I would say Tatum because I believe that all Sharpton is just a grifter and only looks out for when it's a black-white case. I don't believe he has any interest if a white person is actually innocent. I do believe that he does want to seek justice for black people and actually get down to the actual core of whatever it is. I don't doubt that, but I do believe that in his mind, he automatically assumes and that the black person is innocent, the white person is guilty no matter what. So I feel like since he has that mentality, he doesn't have the best interest for everybody in the case to actually find the truth. I think he wants to find just what benefits him.
Okay. Appreciate that. All right. Anything else you want to add to that?
No.
All right, T. Reed, it's on you, big dog.
All right. So to me, this question is multi-layered because when you look at when you say who's been more of a force of good in this situation, the only reason why I would say Officer Tatum is because he actually sat down with these boys and interviewed them and got to say their testimony. They got to speak to the situation. But when you look at the message behind it, you already know Officer Tatum has an angle. We already know Officer Tatum is not going to be on the side of what took place with Nolan Wells. He's going to be on the defensive side of the guys he's interviewing to try to give them an out more than an in, instead of an actual interrogation or to try to an area of discovery to try to figure out what's going on. So who's been more of a force of good? I would say Al Sharpton, just for the simple fact that he put money up for any leads or any information for somebody to come forward in the case to speak to what happened. You know, he put money up. But as far as like to say who's been more of a force of good, it's got to be Al Sharpton. And I haven't even really heard what Al Sharpton is saying. I haven't heard him speak about it. The only thing I've seen is him actually be a proponent to try to come forward and help him, bring light to the case. Obviously, put some money up to find some more information about it. But then when you look at somebody like Officer Tatum, he always has an agenda. And everything they're saying about Al Sharpton is absolutely 100% true about Officer Tatum. And it's kind of puzzling to me that these guys take such offense to Al Sharpton. And maybe he only steps in when he clearly sees it's a racial issue where black people should pay more attention to it. Because they're saying, well, he's always going to see, the white person as the person that's bad. Or maybe he doesn't get involved until he sees something happening where it's an injustice against his people. So I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't see why they have such
an injustice against his people.
But now it's okay for you to interrupt me though. But now it's okay.
Because I wanted to do it to see how you liked it.
See,
we'll say this real quick.
I really don't mind it, but I'm just going to.
Oh, you don't like it, do you?
Because you
don't like it, do you?
You don't do something that I've seen you consistently.
I never said I don't do it. I literally just said I'm doing it to you to see how you like it. Did you not even say that?
So T Reason, go ahead and finish your point, and then after that we can go start the cross examination up. Go ahead. You got anything more you wanted to add, T Reason?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, when you look at this situation, there's some good to what Officer Tatum's doing, but there's a lot of bad to what he's doing, because we already know we're not going to get the whole story from Officer Tatum. We might not even get the whole story from Al Sharpton. But I will say, as far as somebody being a force of good, right now, I would have to say it favors Al Sharpton. I got to look a little bit more into what he's saying. I haven't seen all of his, his takes on it, but I did see the boys come on Officer Tatum's show and say that what they seen and what they saw and what took place. And I feel like we got a lot of information, so there was some good from that.
So let me say this real quick here. Anybody have a point they want to cross-examine somebody on? Anybody?
I got to cross-examine. There's a few points that I got to cross-examine for T Reason.
Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all 3 minutes. Go ahead.
So let's go back to let's say he offered up money. Let's say I ask you a question. Do you have any information pertaining to the case? You tell me no. And I say, hey, I have X amount of dollars now pertaining information to this case. Would it incentivize you to now maybe have information all of a sudden to a case because of money reasons? And that might not be true. Is that a possibility?
No, because I mean, if the
so people won't make up things for money, is what you're telling me. It's not a possibility.
people hit the lottery all the time. You know, people jump out of
What does that have to
airplanes and
do?
go skydiving because you're bringing up something relevant.
You can't answer my question.
Yeah.
How about you answer the question?
No, I can't answer your question. Obviously, people lie, but obviously these kids could be lying too. So the same way you're saying Al Sharpton's probably doing something,
and then you want to talk about, but then the funniest part of everything is you're like, Al Sharpton is the one who's better, even though I have not paid attention to a single thing he said or anything that is going on with what he says.
I just told you why. Because he actually put money up for people to come forward. That's a good thing in this situation.
Putting money, so it's a good thing to put up money. Is it a good thing to actually have? So putting up money can create people to create situations just to get the money. You don't think that happens? You don't think that people are like, oh, I have a reward, let me just make up something and then try to get the money?
You're looking to the rarest thing that could happen. You're looking to like the odds of that happening being extremely low. You're trying to make it seem like that's what's going to happen when the odds of that
Did I say that is what is going to happen? Did I say that is what is going to happen? Or did I say that putting up money could create an incentive for somebody to lie?
The officer who's in charge of the investigation could create a lie. It could be creating a lie right now. He's probably creating a lie right now.
You just can't answer a question, can you?
No, I'm answering the question. The same thing you're saying could happen, I'm saying can already be happening, and that's why we need someone to come forward with the right, correct information, which is what Al Sharpton is doing.
So I'm asking you a specific question, and I'm not getting an answer to the question that I'm asking you. I'm getting a random tangent, which what you're saying is there are
him putting up money. Can someone actually come forward with good information that actually leads to more information that needs to come to the light in regarding this case?
And like
in order to answer that question, T-Reason, you would have to know what information had already been brought forward and what evidence, which goes back to my original opening statement.
Said new information.
Can I finish what I'm saying? Okay. In order for you to know that new information had been brought forward, you would have to know what the old information was. And no one knows, because we're all working off of sources that either had their own agenda to advance, whether it be the friends that left him on the island or whoever, or whether it be Al Sharpton or whoever. That's all we're dealing with. We don't have any, human beings are not going to be unbiased. I don't care how good a person they are. We've all got our biases.
I just had one more point as well.
And that's the whole problem that we have with this whole case is people acting as if those biases don't come into play with this situation.
Nobody's acting like that.
Let's go. Hold on. I just want to make sure everybody understands the cross-examine portion over. It's been 3 minutes now. So,
I just have one more real quick. Just real quick, is what he said. Yeah, for T, he just said that Al Sharpton is looking out for the betterment of his people, for the injustice of his people. Is that what you said? Correct?
That is what I said. Yeah.
Why has Al Sharpton never gone to any black-on-black crimes if he's concerned about his people?
How do you know what he's done and what he hasn't done?
The same way you know what information's been brought forward.
Do you know why? Because he is a civil attorney. In civil cases that he takes on, it is a black and white crime, not criminal cases. So his specific genre of being attorney would be civil cases versus black versus white.
Wicked. Yeah. Just a point of order or whatever, man. I think you're conflating the Reverend Al Sharpton with Ben Crump. He's the attorney. He's the civil attorney.
Okay, so they're both not.
They're both involved. They're both involved.
So those different people, and just so everybody knows, again, it could be people on either side. I kind of used Officer Tatum and Al Sharpton to kind of represent the two opposing sides. So yeah, you can speak to anybody, but Dane's right about those are different people right there. So real quickly, I gave time for y'all to do a cross examination. Tiger, Will, Dane, Coach, y'all got anybody y'all want to?
It's just a thought for the room, just a conversation. Not really to cross examine or go back and forth, but just looking at it and how it's playing out. Like we got underage drinking. Okay, we got allegations that these guys like to abuse certain substances. You know what I'm saying? So off the back, the fact that we don't have some of those adults who are involved being brought in, question about the underage drinking, the kids who, allegedly abuse substances, like they haven't went and attacked or arrested or put charges on underage drinking out at sea. That's against maritime law, from what I understand. you out there doing all this. If the shoe was on the other foot, man, we might have, you know what I'm saying, drug sniffing dogs at the house. We might have a bootlegging charge about some just because liquor's involved. They're gonna get a whole RICO, a bootleg charge. Like people would probably be arrested, charges, mamas, people would be brought down at the station right now, probably. You know what I'm saying?
So,
But it's being real laissez-faire about how things are being handled. And like I said, even bringing in an Officer Tatum for the questions, I watched the interviews he did. To me, I
Softball.
felt like some of those questions was kind of softball lobs. He asked a couple good questions, but I'm like, if you're gonna be doing this interview thing, you could dig a little better than that. Like
He giving them the answer to the question while he asking the question.
Okay, so we still on it. At first, sorry to interrupt real quick, but at first I was about to go to a different question because you brought up something else, but then you back to the Officer Tatum, Al Sharpton ones. Okay, yeah. So you're saying that he was giving them softball and
yeah, man, and kind of, you know, seeing certain contradictions, inaccuracies with things that was already going on out there.
Let me ask this.
Up.
You brought up a really good point, Will. Anybody want to address that? Dane, Tiger, Coach, Wicked. Anybody got anything want to say about what Will's saying there?
Well, yeah. I mean, you're dealing with these guys that went out there with Nolan. They're all adults, but they're barely adults. I know when it first started, people kept referring to them as kids or whatever, but they're barely adults. But I was telling my wife when it first came out that they were out there drinking. I told my wife, I said, whatever adult bought that alcohol for them boys, they're the ones that's probably going to end up going to jail. Now, that's if you just grant that Nolan had been drinking, got dehydrated, heat stressed, and somehow or another ended up in the water at a bad place and the undertow got him. If that is what happened, and it was just a matter of he was out there drinking and that would have contributed to that. Whatever adult bought that for him, that's the one that they're probably going to send to jail, as they probably should, because that's the thing. Like if you give your 14-year-old son's friend, 14-year-old friend, the keys to your car, and he goes down the road and dies in an accident, gets injured in an accident, or injures or kills somebody else, you're criminally liable for that. So that's the one I think. You're the first person, Will, I've heard bring that up. And I've been following this pretty closely because, like I said, I live down here in the midst of all of it. Is I think whoever it was that provided the alcohol, that's going to be the one who ends up, even if Nolan, it was a tragic accident and he drowned, which is not hard to do on that end of Horn Island. If that's the case, whoever gave them alcohol, 18 years old, that ain't even like, well, he's almost 21. He's 18, and it's a thing. So, yeah, I know if it was my child and you gave my 18-year-old son alcohol, and just period for me, because, I was a real involved father, but if you gave my 18-year-old son alcohol and he ended up, getting seriously injured or worse, deceased, oh, yeah, I'd be coming for you. If I had to hire Ben Crump and Al Sharpton because you gave him alcohol and that led to his divorce, I would hold my nose and I would sue the hell out of you and try to get you sent to jail even if I had to go use Crump and Sharpton. Because, that's my kid, and that's the one I think is going to end up. And that's the one, in a way, it should. It should.
So let me say this. Okay, so a lot of people have said a lot of different things. Anybody want to cross-examine or address that somebody said? Go ahead, Will.
I want to say one more thing, man. Earlier, man, Dang has said, what has Sharpton or Crump contributed or gave the Wansley that they couldn't get themselves or have themselves?
Yeah, what has it gotten them that they weren't already going to receive or hadn't already received? What did they get for them?
They were not going to receive this type of coverage, this type of exposure. Like, whenever you're dealing with a Crump and a Sharpton, just because their name can draw the attention and get eyes on what's happening with your particular son. There's so many cases that I come across that just sound suspect, just in the news feed or You know, I might see it on Facebook. I go look into it, be like, yo, is this real? This really happened? And it's so much suspicion. It's a mother right now. 5 years ago, she was kind of coming at content creators like, yo, and they had to kind of check her, but they still gonna share her story. You know, black lady and stuff. She was kind of coming out like, yo, this happened exactly to my son 5 years ago. Went out with his white friends, drowned or whatever, playing around with the phone, all this, it's almost identical. I forget her name, but you can look it up and check it out. But she didn't have, you know, people sharing it, retweeting, and exposing it the way that this case is getting with Sharpton and Crump, and just bringing those eyes and you know, they have a large following. So I think that's what they gained more than anything was
good point, Will.
The attention of a Tyler Perry and the
person who asked the question. What do you have to say about that? He answered the question. Do you find it sufficient? What do you think about that?
Oh, you asking me?
Whoever asked the question, whoever's going to ask that question.
I was the one who responded to. I think about when I asked, you know, what is it they got? Yeah, as far as raising the image in the media, public relations, and that sort of stuff, you know, I guess that would be a valid thing to point out. But as far as the actual process from Sheriff Ledbetter and District Attorney McElrath, and just so anybody else that might hear this stream, her last name is pronounced McElrath. Man, I've heard her name butchered so much, man. Some of the people pronounce her name, they ain't even that many letters in her name. But yeah, D.A. McElrath, she, to my knowledge, just from what I've seen from the outside, because unlike T-Reason, I'm not claiming no stuff that hadn't been released, but the best I can see from the outside is that the due process has been moving forward from the time his body was found. So in regards to that, the legal process was more about what I was focusing on. But yeah, as far as like the public
let me ask that question then. Sorry, Dane. Like, I mean, Will, do you have anything for that? He's saying he was more talking about the legal process. You know, is anything on that?
Yeah. I think that exposure, being out there and getting so many more people to talk about it, is part of that benefit. You know, you get the internet detectives and the couch sleuths and all those people to come out and really look at this thing, so you have a counterbalance. You know, I don't see whether this benefit of doubt is you know, so bold. I think not to come in biased, but to understand that you need these questions to be exposed. You need to understand why somebody would come out and make a statement like, yo, we haven't investigated, but you know, it looks good. Or a judge to come out and basically, you know, make false statements for her son. There's a lot of power and people in positions that have a lot of pull, leverage, and connections that could make something like this go away for sons and of prominent individuals in that community. So when you got somebody on the case, putting a microscope on it, that allows all these other people out there who's doing their research and you know, breaking down and doing sound engineering.
Appreciate you on that, Will. Hold on, I want to get Dane, because I know you initially asked the question.
Will, for real.
Yeah, so Dane, what about that? Does that
I would just point out that what Will's describing is pretty much exactly what happened in South Carolina with the McMichaels and Ahmaud Arbery. But social media picked it up and raised that awareness and got the case reopened. So, I mean, that's a valid angle to look at it as. But even in that case, it didn't take Sharpton and it didn't take Ben Crump to do that. But that's a valid, I can concede easily that it did get a lot more press attention and stuff like that because of Al Sharpton and Ben Crump originally as well. But I'm just not sure that that getting the social media sleuths and that sort of stuff involved to the degree they've been involved at this point has really been a benefit, because there's been so much what ifs and so much second, third, fourth hand information. Some of the stuff I've heard people saying online about it, you can tell they've never been in this area. They don't know anybody in this area. They don't know what boating is like. They don't know what boating on salt water is like. They don't know anything about the Mississippi Sound or anything. They're just repeating what they've seen people say on social media who know as little or less than they do. So a lot of times that social media sleuth could be good. It was with the McMichaels and Ahmaud Arbery. But sometimes it can end up being more of a problem because they get it so muddled up, and the people will be convinced that they know what the truth is. When, like, even now, there's so many people that are convinced they know what the truth is, and when it comes to that investigation, we know very, very, very little. We
But
just
let me
know very little.
appreciate that, Dane. Let me go ahead and bring Tiger. You got anything you want to say on this topic? Okay, what about you, Wicked?
I mean, I would go back to what he was saying about the alcohol part. I think that is a very big thing that needs to be looked into. Obviously, kids out on an island, they're drinking. I think that's like a given to how many kids go out to an island to hang out for 4th of July and not be drinking. I feel like the only issue is going to be trying to find the person who supplied that alcohol. I feel like that'll be the hardest part. I do believe that person would be responsible to what Dane said. You're out there day drinking, you're on an island, you're in the sun, you can get very dehydrated. There's a lot of things that could be a possibility. It doesn't automatically mean that it's foul play because there's too many possibilities that could happen. So I would agree with like I said, the alcohol part of needs to be looked into because that is the serious part that is, I think, a major effect into what happened.
Okay, appreciate that. So as far as the Al Sharpton and Officer Tatum, nobody got any cross-examinations they want to have. Everybody's pretty much satisfied with what they've said so far on that. Okay, so the next question we have right now is, and this goes to what Will had brought up a little bit earlier, would the case be handled differently if the races were reversed? So I want to go ahead and start off with Tiger on this one. What's your honest thoughts on that? You got a minute.
It's hard to say. I mean, perhaps, sure. Yeah, maybe.
Do you if you had to lean one direction or the other, I get that you're saying it's pretty close, but if you lean more, would you lean more yes or lean more no?
Probably lean more no, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
Okay.
lean more no.
Okay. All right. Wicked, what about for yourself?
I mean, there's a strong possibility, a very strong possibility that it could be handled differently if it was the other way around. If you were to just go off of track record, you know what I mean? There is definitely a strong possibility that it could be handled the other way around if it was reversed.
Okay. T Reason, what about for yourself?
Absolutely, man. There's too many examples we could point to where things like this has happened, and there's a bit deeper investigation. People are put in rooms where they gotta answer questions, and they don't have time to get their story straight. They don't have time to delete their social medias, and they don't have time to have such a great response, get lawyered up, and a lot of the things we're seeing take place with this case.
Got you. Okay. Coach, what about for yourself? What you got?
I think that's all he's got is yes.
Yeah. Just people on audio may not be hearing you.
Yeah, he's just shaking his head. He's like, but yes, that's it.
So yeah, just for people on the audio right now, Coach is saying yeah.
My audio is here. I'm keeping it short. The answer is yes.
I think he's even shocked by the question. Is to be honest with you, he's like shocked by the question. He's like, "You're really asking me this?"
Okay, so yeah, Dane, it's on you, Dane. What you got?
I think we should all just go on a response strike. We should just stop responding until Coach steps up and shares whatever's in his head, man. We need to know something. Between Coach and Tiger, man, I'm not sure who's the quietest tonight. But I've heard that question asked a lot. Well, if the races were reversed, would it be different? I mean, that's possible. That's possible. Depending on what all the other details were. A similar question I've been asking a lot of people though since it happened is if all four of these boys, or I say boys, these men, if all four of these friends, or seemed like as it turns out there was about 20 of them in 3 different boats, but whatever, if they were all the same race and all of the other details were identical, would we have as much going on about if they were all black or if they were all white? Mm-hmm. I'd be interested to know what people thought. Not that I'm trying to prescribe a prompt for it, but I'm just saying me personally.
Yeah, I get it.
like would there be all of this other interest and suspicion and charges and stuff going on if they were all black or they were all white and all of the details that we know, which aren't very much, were still the same, but that's kind of what I've been asking myself. But if the roles were reversed, I mean, to me, that almost borders on some like whataboutism. So I really hadn't really considered it, but I mean, possibly so.
Possibly so, like you say, possibly. Like you lean, is 151%, 149% or greater, or what?
I'd say probably like 50 and a half, 49 and a half. I mean, we close. I mean, like my father's grandmother, I never met her because she got shot and killed by her living boyfriend. And the gun was so close to it, the powder flash and everything burned her bra strap and everything. And my father's side of the family were not very high repute, just to let you know. So, and Mama said that when she was at the trial, and this was in Pascagoula, which is just about 15 miles east of Ocean Springs. This was back in like 69, 70. 71. Well, it was before I was born, I think, so it would have been like 70, somewhere in there. Said that at the trial that they convicted the boyfriend of some thin causing her to die charge, accidental whatever, and he spent like a week or so in jail, long enough for the funeral to be over with, and then went on. But Mama said that if my grandmother was still alive, they'd have probably told her to let him go anyway and everything. But Mama told the story, said right before his trial came up, because it was just, you know how it works. Well, she said there was a black man that got caught with a little bit of marijuana in his pocket, and this was back when that was like having heroin, and they sent him to Parchman, Mississippi, to the state penitentiary up there for God knows how long. And, Mama always talked about how cocksided that seemed, that the black man that came up before, his name was Henry, okay? Before Henry came up, he got sent to Parchman. We ain't
was a high earning, not rich yet?
Do what now?
He was high earning, not rich yet. That's what they call the Henrys.
Yeah, I guess so. But loosen that button and your jokes will get a little funnier. But no, I'm saying they sent a black man ahead of Henry to Parchman Penitentiary, which is the state penitentiary. They call it a farm, is what they call it. They call it the state prison farm back then. It was a miserable place and everything. But then Henry actually took a human life, and he was held in jail for a week or two and let go. So, and this was in the 70s, which was, what would that be, almost 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So, that was in the past, but you can't make the argument that there hasn't been disparate results like that, and and that it wouldn't still be happening. So possible.
Got you.
But I'm just more interested in if they were all the same race.
50.5 and 49.5. Okay.
Yeah.
It's reasonable about for yourself.
If the roles were reversed, man, it would be completely handled differently. A lot of the stuff we seeing happen wouldn't happen, and nobody would be making statements prematurely. They would go through with the full investigation. A lot of things I'm seeing I don't like, because that's what's causing me to really pay attention, is because things that typically happen when the shoe is on the other foot is not happening. And I think it's always important to look at things from both sides, to reverse it and say, well, if this was the other way around, would it be the same way? That way we can start getting we can start seeing fairness in our court systems and our judicial systems, and also with how people are handled, because there's a lot of information, and then the information that typically we would have by now, we still don't have yet. So it just raises a lot of red flags, and it raises me to really try to keep an eye on this situation to see how it's going to play out, because I already have a good idea of how it's going to play out. But
well, let me ask this question to the panel, whoever wants to speak to it, because T Reason saying it's a good question to ask because it has to do with how we're able to see if there's a difference in things that are being handled. Do y'all think it's an important question to reverse the situation in your head to see if to see anything? Do y'all think that that's important or that's necessary, or is it helpful?
I think it muddles the water myself.
Levels the water?
I think it just brings
up
more.
I think it muddles it, mixes it up, because within our justice system, it's supposed to work off of logic, evidence, and reason. That's why Lady Justice is standing there with scales in his hand, and I think she has a sword in his hand and a blindfold on. Is she just supposed to measure the truth and the false without looking at any of the other stuff. And if it's guilty, she got that sword and everything to issue justice. I think that when you get into the often to that personal experience realm where you're going, well, what if it was reversed? What if it was a man instead of a woman? What if it was an American citizen and not a undocumented immigrant? And what if it was a Baptist and not a Muslim? When you get in all that, I think you're opening the door to add in a whole bunch of personal grievance.
Appreciate that, Dan.
It could end up missing the truth.
Can I respond to that?
Yes, so go ahead. Everybody's gonna be able to respond to that question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my thing is we should be trying to get to fairness. We should be trying to get to when something like this happens. This is the protocol. This is how we handle it. So if we don't look at it in reverse and say, if these kids were black and Nolan was white, what would the outcome be? Then we don't get to fairness. We gonna always have a two-tier justice system where you have white kids that are getting off on the same crimes that black kids are committing, and if we're not getting no fairness in the court system. I think the outcome of the court system to strive for fairness across the board, not, well, they got more money or they have more political backing or they have more this or they have more that, so we're going to excuse them and exonerate them of any wrongdoings. No, I don't think that should be ever the case.
How is it
real quick,
fairness?
hold on quick, Dane. Hold on, sorry. I want to get Will in real quick to answer that first question because we got you in T Reason's perspective. Will, do you think it's a good question to ask this question on would the case be handled differently if the race is reversed? Do you think it's a good question, bad question? Does it muddle it? Does it help make it more fair? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's a bad question. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who said it. Somebody said there's no bad questions, I guess. I mean, maybe there is, but yeah, why is it a bad question to ponder that? It don't even, for me, really feel like something to ponder. I mean, for me, like it's so just ingrained in the experience of understanding that's just what it is. Like, from my vantage point, you know what I'm saying, and a couple people, I guess that is around me in my circle, it's just the reality of life that probably more than likely, and there are some outliers, but if it was reversed, especially if you broke, you out of there. You out of there. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, there can be instances and cases, but yeah, for the most part.
Hold on, we'll get back to you. I just want to get Tiger in there. Tiger, what about for you? Do you think it's a helpful question to ask? Muddles it? Helps to see fairness. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I think if the races were reversed, is a little bit not productive. But if we were to say the races were the same, black or white, everybody's the same race, it certainly wouldn't even be a story. Like, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So
you think playing with the races in the hypothetical scenarios is helpful, but as far as like just switching Nolan to white and the other people to black, you're saying that you don't think that will really help in the conversation?
No, because I think both sides. I mean, everybody, the white people are all up in arms about Austin Metcalf, and now the black people are all up in arms about Nolan Wells. I mean, I think that, like, when we bring race into it, that's we could say, okay, what I'll say is this: if both Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony were the same race, it wouldn't be a story. If Nolan Wells and the white people involved were the same race, it wouldn't be a story. It's only because there's different racial groups involved. That's why it's a story.
Got you. Okay. Coach, you got anything on this?
I think on small scales like this, where it's just people that have no influence on the situation are talking about it and asking that question, that matters to us. But on a grand scheme of things, in terms of the actual system, it's irrelevant, because the system is going to be what the system is. The system will not protect those it was meant to enslave. So that's just where it is. When you understand that the KKK was never left, they just transitioned from being in the force to being in law enforcement and being judges. You understand what the system is. Once you understand that, it doesn't really matter.
What do we do? What do we do
Gotcha.
then
So
with the
hold
black
on,
officers?
hold on, quick, Dave, real quick. I was want to say, Wicked, did you already answer the question already about like you think it was muddling it up?
You
or-
talking about the Officer Tatum's, Dane? Sound like you talking about the Officer Tatum's right
Yeah,
now.
hold on, T. Reason. I just want to get Wicked, and then we're gonna go to you next, Dane, on what you got to say because I know you already had something to say earlier.
He thought
Wicked,
he
what
had
do you think? You think it's
Yeah,
helpful?
I mean,
you think
I
it muddles
think
it up? What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, in my opinion, I think if you ask that question, you're going to get the same results as that are happening now, just in reverse. So I don't think it does anymore because it's like, yes, there are examples. Asking the question is valid because there are plenty of examples of where a white person has gotten a charge and had nothing happen to them compared to a black person getting that same charge and having more happen to them. There are plenty of situations where that happened. But I think anytime if you bring it to the reverse, it's literally you're just going to get the same thing but opposite. You're going to have black people voting more black person. The white person's going to lean towards the white person. It's just literally going to be the same exact thing, just reversed, in my opinion.
All right, Dane, it's on you, Big Dog.
Well, I got a couple things. T. Reason says something about you would need to do the inverse race thing to make sure things are fair. The law is not the job of the law is not to necessarily be fair. That's when you get off into that personal, relational, personality engagement. The law's job is to say the law says ABC. Did this person violate ABC or not? And then it's almost mathematical, and whatever that comes out to be, they're either guilty or they're innocent. When you started, the law, for instance, has been said to be the truth devoid from emotion. It's like whatever is actually true. So the question of fairness, if the law was expected to come down to whatever was fair, well, there'd be this endless argument about what fair actually meant and whether or not, because whoever comes out on the short end are going to say it's not fair, you see, and whoever comes out on the good end is going to say it is fair. There's no absolute level, standard, straight edge of what is or is not fair because we're all humans, and everybody's going to say that they were treated badly if they came out on the short end of it. So coming up with fair, and if you think about it, to say that switching the races around would make a difference, it should be done so that you could be fair or somehow another. I don't know, that fair doesn't work in the due process, but I'm entertaining the idea that would actually measure up to what racism actually is. When you're saying we're going to use the consideration of these people's race in the process of defining their guilt or innocence, that's actually what racism is. You see?
Okay, well, let me go ahead and bring T Reason in real quick. T Reason, did you want to address that or no?
Yeah, so I think it's what's agreed upon is what is determined to be fair. I think when you
what if we don't agree?
Exactly, but the rules are already established before we start. The parameters are already in place, like a card game. Let's say we both playing, and I beat the snot out of you, wax you. Obviously, you're going to feel it's unfair because you lost, but everybody watching, everybody witnessing already knew the rules to the game before you and I started playing. We already had agreed upon the parameters. So what I'm saying is the consistency is what I'm talking. I'm speaking to the consistency of how our justice system processes everything. If we already agreed on what the rules are, it doesn't matter what you feel or what I feel. Because
the
everybody
rules
else
are that race is not
hold
considered.
on, you're interrupting me. Everybody can already say this is what we determine how this is gonna go. Because every time something like this happens, black people are told, well, we need to allow the investigators to do their investigation before anything. And we already know we got to follow their rules. But obviously, they're not being held to that same standard right now. And they able to still sit at home and play tiddlywinks and cover their tracks.
Hold on real quick. Okay, cool.
So
So
hold on now. The rules to the card game are favoring the people who are trying to rig it. Instead of let's saying this is how it goes every single time, because we already know how it's supposed to go.
Appreciate that,
we already have agreed upon the parameters.
Yeah, appreciate that. So I want to give Dane. Dane, I'm gonna go to Will after you. Dane, what you got?
Okay, thank you. The gish galloping was galloping away on me.
That's all you do, man. That's why you speak to that word so much.
Are you finished?
I'm just.
I'll be glad to give you the floor. Go ahead. I'll be glad to give you the floor.
Cranked up.
Go ahead.
No, you started. Go ahead.
Are you sure this time?
Yeah, I'm positive.
Okay.
100%. Go ahead.
We've already then, within your paradigm, agreed to how due process is supposed to work. And under those laws right now, race is not supposed to be considered. It's like Joe Friday. Just the facts, ma'am. Race is not legally supposed to be considered, especially since the civil rights era. Okay, so that's what I'm in favor of. That's what I'm actually arguing for, is that the courtroom should be devoid of race, religion, gender, ethnicity, wealth, social class, all of that sort of stuff. And Lady Liberty is supposed to have that blindfold on. And what you're arguing for is Lady Liberty needs to take that blindfold on off and ask herself, wonder what had happened if the races were reversed. Wonder what had happened if the genders were reversed. Wonder what would happen if religion was reversed. That's not justice. That's vigilantism. That's mob rule. Now, you said that it was about going by what we already pre-agreed before the crime or suspicion of a crime ever occurred. I agree with you 4,000 bajillion% T-Reason. And that law that we agree to live under says race is not supposed to be considered. Hey, I'm with you. But then you're turning around and what you're saying should be considered is actually against the law. So you defeated your own argument.
You just put a whole bunch of words in my mouth.
Y'all get in. I just want to say, everybody out there in the audience, like, subscribe, share. Also, send in your comments. We appreciate y'all watching the show. And I want to go ahead and let Will get in here. Will, you got anything you want to say?
I wanted to respond to all that he just said.
Yeah, you can get a chance. You can get a chance.
Oh shit, do your thing, man. Go ahead.
Oh, he giving you the floor back. Go ahead, T-Reason.
Hey, Jam.
Yeah.
I gotta tap out on you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so basically what I'm asking for is consistency. And what you're saying is that there should be no race shouldn't be brought into the case. Well, how do you know if it is race if you can't ever compare? If you can't ever compare, then how can you know if race is playing a factor or not? And how can
that wasn't the question?
No, it's no. This is what my point has been, and you're trying to say no. Well, we got to get away from race. We all want to get away from race, but when we clearly see that that's the issue, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, which is what you're saying. You're basically saying ignore the root of the problem and pretend like it doesn't exist.
Well, let me say this real quick. Hold on, quick, Dane. Let me say this real quick because I know y'all want to have an exchange back. I know people don't want to interrupt, so y'all go ahead and interrupt. I mean, try to keep it peaceable to get the thoughts and ideas out there. But Dane and T-Reason, if y'all want to take 2 or 3 minutes and figure this out, feel free to do so. I'm just going to make sure
we need to have consistency. And when we look at our justice system, we see a lot of inconsistencies. And when you say something like, "Oh, race shouldn't be involved," but then we see a lot of situations where it's involved and to who it favors, that's how it plays out consistently. Then we start saying, well, how can we measure that? How can we determine that race is coming into a factor? Now we have to look at it from both sides and say, well, if it was a white person, this is the outcome. If it was a black person, this is the outcome. You cannot look at something objectively without a comparison point.
Yeah, feel free to get in that thing.
That wasn't the question.
Because
that
you're
wasn't the
saying
question.
Hold
on, T-Reason. Let him. He's going to say the question.
That was not the question. Now you can go on this damn diatribe you're going on to just rant and rave about how bad white people have been and how oppressed black people have been, and some of your diatribe may be valid complaints, but that was not the question. So I'm not going on a diatribe to just sermonize about this sort of thing. I'm responding to the question that he asked. He asked whether or not that the two races should be switched to consider in this investigation and the understanding of what happened. And my response,
we didn't say anything about investigation.
My response, you can pick up one little word to try to hang on the argument if you want to.
No,
my response
you're
is that no, it should not be considered. Then no, it should not be considered. And I explained why, because justice is supposed to be blind. Now, you're wanting to go off on some rabbit trail about being able to measure whether or not blacks or whites are being treated equally. That data is already being collected by the Department of Justice with the FBI. You can Google it up with that computer in front of you. You can Google all those stats up. What he was asking about is in the situation of deciding in this case whether or not Nolan Wells was killed or whether he died of an accident or whatever, should the races be considered? And that's what I'm speaking to. You're responding to an argument I'm not making.
I feel
So
like
real
that's
quickly, I
what
just want to
you're-
read this comment right here. It says, "You mean Lady Justice, not Lady Liberty, who is
Yeah,
not
I probably said Lady Liberty because I mixed the two words up some. Earlier in the stream, I said Lady Justice, but you don't talk about Lady Justice very often. So yeah. But yeah, you're right. Look, I'm old, man. I'm old, all right, and I'm a public school
Very.
graduate. And I've had a martini, so stick with, I think, Lady Liberty for Lady Justice, man. All them white women look alike to me, man. What I know.
And wrestler, if you want to come up, let us know, man. You can join the panel. All right, so appreciate that, T Reason and Dane. Wicked, Tiger, Will. You gave your floor to T Reason. So Will, what you got anything you want to say on this?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I agree with pretty much both of them. What I heard them saying, I agree with Dame and saying, on paper, that's the way it should be. You know what I'm saying? It should be colorblind the way it's written up on paper, and it should be based on the facts. And the sentencing should be fair and impartial and things like that. But like T Reason said, also in actual practice and application, that's far from what the reality is, and it shows not just from experience, but statistically as well, and all of these things. And like the guy Coach was saying before he stepped off, that's kind of the design of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when does anything else really made much of a difference as far as what was written on paper and promised? Like what's happening in practice and in action in the real world, actuality and practicality, that paper really doesn't go far. As many broken treaties and, so yeah, I think people understanding if the case was handled differently for people that have to ask that question, this is good on them. They'll learn something. And yeah, man, I mean, but yeah, I mean, they both right
Appreciate
on
you,
what I
Will.
heard them saying. It's just
Yeah,
what it
gotcha.
is, man. And I think it will be until something
Gotcha. Yeah.
dramatic takes place, a real overhaul over here. I don't think this it's been a while. I ain't gonna say it hasn't happened, but it's been a while since you've seen us on, world news on BBC, really uprising and not marching, really body slamming people out here and getting shot and hit by tanks like you see in other countries, man. It might take something like that for this to really be an overhaul of what this is systematically set up to be.
Got you. Okay, yeah. Uncle Tiger, what about for yourself? Anything you want to say based off what you've been hearing from anybody?
I'm not even sure what we're talking about anymore. So
yeah, anything you might want to address from what T Reason, Dane, Wicked, or Will has said, anything you agree with, disagree with?
Come on, fight me, Tiger.
I'm honestly, I'm genuinely just confused. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
What about you, Wicked? You got anything anybody you agree with, disagree with, anything you want to cover that's been said so far?
I mean, so far everybody has made pretty much valid points. I mean, like I said, there's too many examples of one happening one way in the exact same cases to one race and not another case for this not to be a valid question. So it's just kind of hard to disagree with, is it valid? Because like I said, there's one case that I know of which blows my mind. It's I don't know what school he went to, but I believe the dude's name was Brock something, and he raped some girl, and because he's a white dude, they got him with he was in school, and I think it's grapes. And I think they charged him with affluenza, I believe is the name of it, where it's he didn't know any better or something like that.
Yeah, said that he stood to lose too much
on the swim team, on the swim team or something like that.
Go to school on a scholarship, and they said he would just mess up his future too much. Yeah,
and it was affluenza because he came from a really rich white family and didn't know any better or something like that, and that just blew my mind because. I mean, if there's been times where it's the other way around and it's literally the opposite, and so many other examples of that. So it's hard to say it's not a good question.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much covered that one pretty well, fellas. Anybody got anything they want to say on this before we go to the next one?
I'd just like to just partly in response to something Will said. I'll concede that there's problems with the justice system, but I think that's in large part because you have human beings running it. But I concede that there's problems in it. I just don't think that the direction we should move in with the justice system or even in society in general is to go back to a time when it was sectarian, where people were separated according to race, creed, color, religion, that sort of stuff. And I got some friends of mine, some of them are in my chat now and such, that would disagree with me staunchly on that. But, you know, I just think that at least with the justice system and the administration of law as far as being equal under the law, that we need to focus more on fixing those disparate situations more so than moving back towards entering in emotions and entering in more biases that we bring to it. I just think that would be going backwards and not forwards, and will make it much worse because we've already been there. We've already been there. You know, when my grandmother and grandfather got married, my grandmother had to convert to Methodism because Methodists and Baptists couldn't get married back then. You know, and you go back one step forward to like England, and your Protestants and Catholics were killing each other, you know, that kind of stuff. And I just don't think it's a good move to move back to that sort of a paradigm.
Got you. So yeah, real quickly. So we got another question coming up right here. And this one we haven't talked about it a whole lot yet, but excuse me. Do you think that the boys that are involved are being treated unfairly? So we'll first start it off with just go around and say yes or no, then we'll get into the conversation. You know, Will, do you think that the boys, the friends of the guys that are left that are talking about it, you think they're being treated fairly or unfairly? What's your thoughts on that? I mean, well, not your thoughts, just you think unfairly or not unfairly?
I believe you said the boys being treated unfairly. Is it a trick question, man, or what? Is it a trick question?
We're going to get into the conversation, but just, you know, off the top of your head, I've heard a lot of different conversations about this, a lot of different opinions about it. Just from your perspective, you know, you think the boys that are involved with this are being treated fairly or unfairly?
I'm trying to process how the question hitting me. Because if I say they've been treated unfairly, that it don't fit. But then if I say they didn't treat it fairly, it don't fit. Something ain't clicking in my mind. I might be tripping.
For you, is it like you're saying that both is happening? Well, we'll come back
because if I say they're being treated fairly.
Oh, I see what he's saying. I'm with him on that one too. Now.
You see what I'm saying? It's messing my mind up like it's a double meaning for both questions. You know what I'm saying? Like unfairly by who? Or fairly by who?
So yeah, if you want to,
because like if I'm looking at it from Sharpton's them perspective, you know what I'm saying? And
so then for you, would you say like, you know, you could feel, you know, so you're saying that it's both basically?
No, from a certain perspective, they're not being treated either. They're not being treated unfairly or fairly.
Okay.
There you go. Because it's like.
Hold on, we're gonna get into it. I just want to make sure I can find a way to make your answer concise on that one. I think I got it now. For you, it's you're what T Reason saying they're not being treated fairly or unfairly. Is that accurate?
Yeah, something like that. Because depending on whose vantage point, I guess I'm answering from.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Because
what about from your vantage point? Like, are you able to answer from yours or?
Are the boys
he may have the same vantage point as like Al Sharpton or somebody?
Fairly. Because it's like, oh man, it's throwing me off, fam. I'm sorry, man.
From your perspective, you can't. So, and T Reason, is your answer the one you gave, or it's not either? How would you answer that? How would you answer the question?
After what he just said, it made it harder. But I will say, they're being treated fairly.
Okay, Tiger. What about for you? Do you think Uncle Tiger? You think the boys are being treated fairly?
Oh, well, I mean, it is kind of a loaded question. It's like, okay, what does fair mean? And, you know, from what side of things are we examining this through, right? I mean, it could go either way. And no, I'm not leaning more one way or the other. I'm
this one's more 50-50 for you. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Wicked, what about for you?
I would say unfairly.
Okay. Dang, what about for yourself? You're on mute if you're talking.
I know. I didn't expect you to come to me that quick, man. I was getting over here to my other monitor. I think that all of the boys, people keep throwing out this word "for." There was a bunch of them. I think all of them are being treated unfairly, including Nolan.
Okay, got you. Okay, cool. So let's have people who had the strongest stances on it.
I think I figured it out, man. I think I figured it out. I'm gonna go with unfairly. There we go.
They're being treated unfairly. Okay.
Yeah, now that's a good one. I think I'll change mine to unfairly too. Then.
Yeah, but then you know what I'm saying. But then it's like, yeah,
no, they're being treated unfairly.
Let's get
because then it's like, they are being. Oh my bad. Because then it's like, they're being treated unfairly for what they're getting, but then they're being treated unfairly.
Tiger, for you, like you still standing on the 50-50 because you got two guys who was like goes either way. Now they're switching to one side. How about for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it depends on what we mean by fair. If we're talking about, like, if we were to like tie this into the previous conversation, like we're bringing race into it. No, I think if the races were reversed, it would probably be. It could very well be the same thing, but
Okay.
Now, as far as like, I see what Dane means. And I would perhaps lean more towards that too, but like it sort of all depends on what we mean by fair, and
Got you. So let me get Wicked in. Wicked. So what about for yourself? You can go ahead and explain. What do you got?
So I say unfairly for a few reasons. One, because a lot of people are already making assumptions about them, and it seems like most Black people say that when they're in a court case, they're getting all these assumptions made about them just because they're Black and this and that, and they're being treated unfairly. But yet when we see the same thing happening in the roles reversed right now, you have two people saying that it's fair. So, it's just kind of funny how when you reverse the roles last time, it's okay. But when you reverse the roles this time, it's the opposite. Now, are they being treated fairly by some people? Yes. Are they being unfairly treated by some other people? Yes. So there is a line depending on who you're talking about. But I would say overall, it is unfairly being treated.
Got you. Okay. Now, Dane, you had opened it up and got everybody thinking about it deeper. So go ahead and share your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at that. It's been tough for 55 years being, amongst the smartest people in the room. No offense, guys. No,
I just hang out with the smartest guy in the room. Virtually. I hang out virtually with the smartest guy.
Don't you ever say you're high IQ like that.
Honestly, I don't ever want to be the smartest guy in the room.
Well, there's no danger in that.
It's not hard. You ain't got to worry about that.
No danger.
You ain't never got.
That's until you enter. That's until you see. That just shows how stupid you are. Being that you want to be the smartest guy in the room means you are. That means that you can.
Stupid tells me your IQ. I mean, you answer your own question.
You just keep prattling. All you do is keep prattling. It's so funny.
That's your favorite. One of your favorite
somebody else's IQ is rich.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like me to use words that you can actually understand?
People aren't going to understand intelligent people, so I don't.
Would you like me to use words that you can understand, like crayon and the and
I
the?
would like you to stop using these low IQ words that you like to use from time to time. That's what I would like you to
low
stop
IQ
using.
words.
Well, hold on. So we got that in a little bit. Everybody got that. So Dane, you was gonna go. Go ahead, Dane.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
So hold on. I'm gonna read this comment real quick. Wrestler said,
see that?
Because you hadn't started yet, I was like, I can slide this one in there real quick. Thanks, Wrestler, for getting in there. Yeah, being the smartest guy in a room is a detriment to themselves. So I go ahead, Dane.
All right. See, now I'm fixing my camera because I lost focus there. What I was going to say is that everything that I've heard about Nolan Wells seems to paint him as a picture perfect guy. I hadn't heard anything bad about him. He seemed to be very. He was athletic. He was a good student.
He was a stud.
Excuse me. Can I talk?
Nope.
Well, I mean, you had your.
Okay,
go ahead.
Another
then.
man a stud.
Go ahead, then.
He was.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, he was.
You just called another man a stud. Can somebody
From
clip
what
that
I
for me,
seen,
please, and
he
thank you?
was. Yeah, from what I seen.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just saying he's a
Go ahead.
stud.
He was
I
a
think he
great
was added to your
athlete.
point.
He had a lot of women around
Let me know
him.
when they get finished, Falk, and I'll finish.
He was a role model student, and he was very charismatic. He carried himself very well. He was.
Appreciate
From one to
that,
the next. Real recognize real. Something you don't know nothing about, Wicked.
Okay, yeah. Let's let Dane finish his comment here, fellas.
Thanks.
We get back into that. Go ahead.
Thanks. Because I didn't come here to hear folks just try to outjank one another.
Yeah, you came here to hear yourself talk. We know. Go ahead.
Okay. He seemed to be a fantastic young man. The guys that went out there with him had nothing but good to say about him. People I know in the community who knew him had nothing good to say about him. And honestly, I know it's always easy to make people into some sort of a saint once they're dead. Like the worst person in the world, once they're dead, people talk about what a great person they were. I know that that's the dynamic. However, I've known probably dozen or more Wellses in this area. And all of the Wellses I've ever known were just good people. They were hardworking people. They were intelligent people, moral people. So the description that people make of Nolan Wells in the news and that sort of stuff really fits in line with the experience I've had with every Wells I've ever come across. I've gone to church with Wellses. I've worked jobs with Wellses. I've served in community organizations with people whose last name was Wells. Heck, back in the early 2000s, there was a family we went to church with. It was 3 daughters, a son, and then another son. That's a long story. And then the mom and the daddy. And they babysat our kids a few times. We didn't use babysitters very much because Deidre and I just taught our kids how to behave so we could pretty much take all of them everywhere. And that was a chore because they were all Snyders. And we kind of got a reputation for being hard to handle. But, they babysat our kids 2 or 3 times when we needed them. They were just good people. So I think, at least from my perspective, that how this has been massaged into this social media campaign and it's been moved over into some sort of civil rights thing and everything. And I think that it ends up mischaracterizing Nolan. I think that it's unconscionable the way Ben Crump stood in front of the NAACP and read out that autopsy report in all of its brutality and all of its gruesomeness to where in my mind, it was like he wasn't talking about a young man who had just died, an actual person. It was like he was talking about some science project. So I think that this whole situation has treated Nolan unfairly, posthumously, and then the way that the court of public opinion has lined up. I know that T-Reason keeps talking about what we know here and has the investigation. We just want the investigation to be complete. All of that hangs on information that no one knows because none of it's been released. So it's had to have been conjured up in people's minds. How many people have been interviewed? What's been done with that information? What medical tests have been done? This investigation could come from the grand jury and they could end up indicting 14 different people for homicide. We don't know. But right now, all of this other stuff is being done based on what people don't know. The lack of knowledge is being used as grounds for all this other stuff. These people are getting hate mail. They're getting stuff mailed to their house in boxes that are suspicious. They're getting death threats online, these sorts of things. And it's all based on, well, we don't know, but based on history, it could be. And since they're not telling us differently, well, it's probably true. So we're going to go forward with this based on what might be that we don't even know. And I just don't think that's what intelligent, law-abiding, peace-loving people do. I think that we should wait until the investigation is made public. And then if we look at it, because none of us are stupid. Well, there's T-Reason, but the rest of us are not stupid. We could look at the outcome then, and we have solid information in front of us, and we say, "Oh, wait a minute! Right here, they're saying 1 + 1 = 2.365. That don't add up. No, we need to look more into it. Now everybody would have some solid information to go on, and dare some joker to try to argue that it wasn't solid information, because right here it is right here. And this is your information. Answer your question. Answer your own question. Then you got something to go forward with. Right now, you got all this hate and discontent being sown online, and nobody really knows anything except Nolan is tragically dead. Mom and daddy are upset, and he went to Horn Island and didn't come back. And his some of the guys he was with left, and he stayed behind for whatever reason. That's all we really know.
Well,
that
Dan,
we
let
can
me
even say is a fact.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up. Will, you want to get in there? You got anything you want to say on this?
Oh yeah, man. I'm just gonna, land on the side of unfairly, just from the unfair use of, the resources and the power that seem to me to have some type of influence on the way things are proceeding on that side. The fact that some of those charges haven't been brought forth and more thoroughly investigated. I feel like by this point it should be somebody downtown. So that's a little unfair. Some of the mainstream media coverage, I feel like, has kind of used the more sanitized and scrubbed analysis of what I've been seeing going on. Just some media outlets, not all of them, but the more mainstream, like, I see TMZ is kind of light. They're not really leaning into some of these things, ABC. I seen Nancy Grace, now she going in, what I'm saying? I can appreciate, what she's doing. She's really digging deep and analyzing. But yeah, just some of the unfair coverage, the way they're being, kind of handled with the investigations, just based on what we do know. And how that is being, handled going forth. I think it don't take this long to get to how that liquor got into their possession, or the fact that this kid said himself out his own words, there's no adults on this boat and I'm operating it out here. And we know you've been drinking. You sound drunk on the phone. We coming to get you, man. That's drinking and boating. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go ahead and put that charge on you real quick. And we're gonna put pressure on you with that charge. We're gonna put you in there. They're gonna have to put that bail money up, and then we're gonna go from there. Put a little pressure and apply some pressure. So yeah, I kind of rest on the side of unfairly when I think about it and break it down from what I think you ask.
Oh, you muted, Vulcan.
Appreciate it. So yeah, anybody else got anything they want to say on this topic before we go to the next one?
If I could just explore that.
I want to speak to it.
Well, I know T Reason got. Well, yeah, let's let T Reason go. But first, before you, Tiger, you had anything you wanted to add? Okay, yeah. So go ahead, T Reason.
Yeah, I think that they are being treated unfairly because we're seeing a layer of protection that doesn't typically exist in these types of situations. We're seeing them be afforded certain things that typically when we see something like this happen, they're not afforded these types of things. Obviously, there was liquor involved. Nobody's been arrested for the crimes that have been committed. So we're going to give them even more time, even with the crimes we see be committed, before we take somebody into custody and start a true, genuine investigation. I haven't seen where they've been set down and been interrogated and investigated. I haven't heard of any of those things. So I think we do need eyes on this situation. A lot of times people try to say, well, it's only getting media coverage because of XYZ. I think either way it would have got media coverage. I think it's just getting a lot more because it does appear to be a racially charged incident. And we're seeing a lot of things that should be happening not happen. We're seeing a lot of covering up that's happening that shouldn't be happening. We're seeing a lot of people involved that have a job to do, and all we're asking for is consistency. We want to see it be consistent. If this is how we're going to do it, then we want to see it the same on both sides. That's where the unfairness comes into play, because you have examples of this is how it happens when it's these people, but then this is how it happens when it's these people who have a certain layer of protection that they're being afforded that most people won't be afforded. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. They
So-
got to put them in that cell, make them
Waiting on that
post
to come
bail, let one of them wild
let me-
Mississippi dudes, look at his booty for about 12 hours to a day, because it take a minute to post bail. They got to see that young tender meat in that cell and make him feel that pressure. Okay, boom.
Okay,
Post
so real
out,
quick,
because we already got the charge, we got the evidence. We're gonna charge you, put you in here, put you in that interrogation room, you know what I'm saying? Apply some pressure and try to get you to rat. See if you want some chicken, you know what I'm saying, to tell on somebody. And then we're gonna put you in that cell for 12 hours and let them boys talk to you a little bit. Let you hear that crazy dude that be yelling in that cell over there, you know what I'm saying, that they gotta go in there and beat up in the county. Like, yeah, man, we gotta do all that to you. You know what I'm saying? Right now, right now. Because we already got the evidence. We doing that tonight.
So real quickly, I want to get these comments in, and Dane has something to share. He wants to share. So did y'all all hear the 911 call?
Yes, indeed.
I heard it.
Okay, cool.
I don't think Dane or Tiger or Wicked heard it, but I heard it.
I heard
You
it,
have
and
absolutely
what's
no
interpreted-
idea of knowing what I've heard. I haven't heard. You're
I
just
said
talking
I
out of
don't
your
think.
ass
I
because your
said I
mouth know
don't
better.
think.
You just
I don't
talking
say I know
out
for a
of your
fact.
ass, man.
I didn't say
you
that
talking
for
out
fact,
your
bro.
ass.
Get
You
your
got
dumb
We
no
already
way
know
of
you don't think.
knowing what
Pull your
I have
panties
or
up
have
and
not
get your
heard.
panties
So,
in the
yeah,
back.
You got
yeah,
absolutely
it's-
no way of knowing it. You just
So
acting
T.
like a
Rizzy saying-
stupid kid, just
Calm
talking
down.
shit because your mouth
Calm
know
down.
better.
I'm allowed
You got
to
nothing to
what I
say.
feel.
You got no
your
fucking.
titties.
You got nothing to say, man.
Calm your
So yeah, I'm
titties
gonna
down,
read these
man.
comments real quick.
Yeah,
I think y'all covered that part real well on who knows what and stuff like that. Real quickly, Restless says, round them all up, distributors and all. Someone will cave and make a deal. That I think kind of goes to what Will was saying a moment ago. We got Leah Bobia. She's saying, what kind of word salad was that? Yeah, the investigation, not good enough. We see things not happening. We see corruption and cover-ups. We see shady behavior. Like what? Name it then. And then we got also Leah Bobia saying, and they're getting protection others wouldn't. Based on what? Their feelings and nonsensical biased musings. Can we get some evidence? Even a logical argument. This fella speaking on men and essay. Over murder, tell me you've never done time without telling me. Have my ass off. What the helly?
Have you
shout
done
out to
time?
Bobea.
Are you confessing something right now?
Nah, it's not over murder. It's along with. You're facing multiple charges. We're gonna get you on the charges we getting on while the investigation is pending. We got evidence for a charge against.
One law that was broke.
Yeah. We got evidence for charges against multiple people tonight. So we're gonna use that. Hopefully, get more information while we're still investigating. What's the pause about on what we already know out there on the ship? I don't understand who that person. Comment what they talking about. Yeah, been to jail without been to jail. It's the process. Yeah, I've been there. And that's what's supposed to be happening to them. They're supposed to be there. Let's get it. Yeah.
So hold on, we got another comment coming in right here. Restless says they didn't know the recording was taking place when they said, OMG, he's dead.
Facts.
Okay, so right now we got the last question we have on the show. We got other questions, but this is the last one as far as specifically the Nolan Wells specific situation. Then we're going to get to other things that happen on the panel here. So let's go to this one right here. Is this a racial hate crime in your opinion? Now, obviously, we've already discussed the facts. We don't know all the information that's still coming out, all that stuff going on, but just kind of going around. Is this a racial hate crime in your opinion? Whether the actual loss of life or the cover up, any aspect of you think that's racially motivated, anything like that. What's your honest thoughts? We'll start with you, Wicked. Yay or nay on this one?
So honestly, until the case is settled and all of the facts came out, I can't determine whether it's a racial hate crime or not as a actual definitive answer. But I do believe that it is being portrayed to be a racial hate crime, and they want it to be so bad just to pursue a narrative, because I do believe that the media wants to divide us as much as possible, because it seems like the only things that they do show.
Sharing that real quick, but just in your opinion, just for your opinion, like obviously nobody knows, but just in your opinion, do you think it is? You think it's probably not?
Yeah, in my opinion, I honestly don't know until all the facts come out, but I think they're trying to push it as one.
Okay. So for you, you said you just 50-50 on it. You don't know either way.
Yeah, until the whole case, because the case isn't done yet. So we don't know. I mean, something else could come out tomorrow that
for sure
that makes everything that we're saying, because we don't know because it's not done. So how can I give you an answer to a conclusion that's not been concluded?
We'll get back to you. So Will, what about for you? Is this a racial hate crime in your opinion? Obviously, you don't know. The facts haven't come in yet, but just based off what you heard so far, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I can't pinpoint with, a definitive charge to say that it was an actual racial hate crime with them intentionally unaliving him in that manner. But kind of what you see, like, after that, the investigation, some of these things that look a little shady, and the power structure using that type of leverage, especially in the state of Mississippi, it definitely brings to question that some of those aspects, may be tied and attributed to, the race dynamic or some power. But what they actually may or may not have done to their friend, I can't say fully yet, but in my mind, it comes into play. This is Mississippi. We know there are certain involvements and certain entities and societies that's secretive that require a sacrifice, a body, for the initiation to take place. Like, this is nothing I would hope that any of us would say is false. We know these alliances, these gangs, these societies exist.
We're gonna get back to you on it real quick.
Based on, my
we'll
bad.
Get back to you on it real quick. Yeah, no, you good. I just want I first want to say I'm gonna get the T reason and Dane next, but I'm gonna say this real quick just so everybody in the audience can understand the question real well. Is this a racial hate crime in your opinion? That can include what the police forces doing, the coroner, the actual death itself, anything that you might think is a crime taking place based off race or cover up based off race, whatever it is. On any side like that, feel free to chime in on that. So I'm gonna read these comments and we're gonna get to Dane and T reason next. So Restless says it's a rough question. A racial crime, maybe. A hate crime, we don't know yet. Leah Bobea says, hold up. Am I hearing correctly? Did this man just endorse prison rape for people he deems guilty? Man, that's wild.
That is true. That is true.
He
did do that. He did do that. He did do that.
Yeah, she said it is racial because if my Hawaii self said that, you try to. Then we got right here. Leah Bobes also says, cancel me with a quickness. But of course, since it's the Hawaii's on the other side, who cares, right? So crazy and hateful. And then we got the common code saying T Reason got those Felicia from Friday braids done modeling for Wonder Bread with that short. Wicked needs to fix that door on the refrigerator finally. That's coming from the common code. All right, so
fix the door.
Man, I'm not endorsing prison rape. Where they get that from?
Great.
No, listen,
prison rape.
You did in a little bit when you said that.
Great. You gotta say great.
You gotta be careful, Will, with that R word you just used, because you'll get him demonetized.
Yeah.
Man, I promise I do not condone that. I'm saying he gotta sit in that cell and feel that pressure and go through that process, like what people are willing to do and say, huh?
It's when you use the words, when he's sitting there and he's that fresh meat for them to get. I think that's the part where it kind of could be misconstrued. Not saying that you meant it in that way, but when you use those two words, it's kind of like, yeah, let him feel that fresh meat, that little, you know what I
mean? Okay. I used a bad example, but let him feel that door close. Like, feel that door close and feel that initial claustrophobic feeling. Being in here with guys that you don't know.
Yeah, this is real.
We got Dane modeling for Wonder Bread. He meant, and then also he says right here, Common Cold says Vulcan put that boy on Salt and Pepper commercial. I'm
gonna need you. I don't know.
I definitely got. I could be on a Salt and Pepper commercial. That's no lie.
He was talking about you then. I didn't know.
I think he was talking about me. Yeah.
I thought maybe that was some of that slang that I don't know nothing about. I thought I was using translation.
He's gonna be the new face for Just for Men.
Yeah. So we covered a lot of these comments right here.
Game commercial.
You know, is this a so we got on there, is this a racial hate crime in your opinion? Anybody have anything that, oh yeah, we still got Dane, you go ahead and go into reason. We'll hit you last on this one right here. So is this a racial hate crime in your, any element of it racial, you know, any improprieties going on with this whole thing, or what's your thoughts on that?
Whether it's this incident or any other one, I honestly don't believe hate crimes per se even exist. I don't believe that race played a part in it, just basically based on the history of the people that Nolan went out to the island with, the history between them, as far as the information that we know at the moment. I don't believe. I believe that if they got out there in these friends, if they did something nefarious that resulted in his demise, I don't believe that that would be race based. I mean, I know that if I got angry enough, or maybe I acted irrationally and injured some white guy and he ended up dying, no one would say that that was race based. They just say Dane got mad and hit some dude in the head and it killed him, or it pushed him and he fell and hit his head and he died or something. I'd still be guilty of homicide, some degree of it, but nobody would say that was race based. I think that even if it comes out that these guys he went out there with are responsible for his death, and I reiterate, I don't believe they are, but if they are, I still wouldn't say that just the fact they were two different races would make it any kind of a race-motivated crime. That's just, I mean, I think if these friends, these young men, if they are murderers, then they have got to be the absolute worst killers I've ever heard of. I mean, they've got to be terrible because they're calling Cito. I mean, I've heard of this supposed audio recording that some engineer has been cleaning up. Well, we don't know if she's cleaning it up and putting out the actual audio or not. We just know what she says, and we don't know who this woman is. We don't know her history, nothing. But I've heard about this. It's supposedly there's people in the background talking about Nolan being injured and on the boat calling Cito and everything. Like, why would they call witnesses to the boat? That doesn't understand. Why would they get back and turn the phone over? They're terrible killers. I mean, this. If they are killers, they're terrible. But I would like to pose a quick question. I'm just curious. I asked a friend of mine here in Mobile. He's in the same kind of business I am in my real life. A black guy. It looks like Gary Coleman. Funny guy. But I asked him the other day, because he would agree with Will and T Reason at this point. I asked him what the threshold was of evidence that he would have to have reached to accept that this was a tragic accident. You know, because I'm just curious, what threshold does the investigation and all of that have to rise to for the people who think that there was some homicide or something going on here to say, oh, see, that makes sense. You know, I believe the investigation. Or is
we got you, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you, Dan. So real quickly, we're gonna give everybody a chance to answer that. We're gonna go to T Reason next, but I'm gonna first read these comments real quick. So we got the Common Code saying, better to ask what's your natural predisposition based off of the limited release info. So instead, I guess he's talking about my question, instead of asking, you know, what's your opinion? What's your natural predisposition based off the limited release info? I like that question too. I mean, you know, it's not, you know, a very sexy question. People are gonna be like, what? But that would be a little bit better worded, I think. So Leo Bobia says, one question though, why is it racial? Because Nolan is black? Is that seriously the only reason? I mean, what the hell am I missing here? This is so ridiculous. It'll be funny if it wasn't so sad.
Until it's not. Until it's not.
Yeah, then Leo Bia says, we just decided that a young black man was taken out by his friends of years and years because he's black, because Mississippi. Not only is that illogical, it's dumb as heck. And the Common Code says, people make irrational mistakes all the time. Dane wore that shirt. T Reason still rocking the Felicia braids. Just kidding. Love the panel with top guys.
Why you hating on the braids?
Man, look,
he said, just kidding. Top. Yeah. Go ahead.
Boy.
I'm 6'3".
About me, boy.
I'm 6'3", and I weigh in at like 309 right now. I've been as big as 400 pounds. Look, by the time I pay for a shirt with this many square yardage of material on it, man, I can't buy that many. So once I get them, I gotta keep them. I
Gotta
gotta
keep
keep them
'em.
till they're like
The
3.
bigger the size, the more they cost.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
my man nippies start showing through, that's when I get a new one, man.
Grown man nippies. Tell
I
them.
don't care if it came from 1987. I'm wearing it. And it's my
Yeah,
business.
right. It's a
10 year
good year
business.
too. So yeah,
I'm still
so
just trying to figure out what's wrong with my refrigerator door. It's literally
Yeah.
only half of a door you see.
so yeah, T Reeves, it's on you, man. What you got?
We can't rule it out. I mean, we should absolutely look into it. This is definitely something we need to figure out. I mean, we should do everything we can to find out if that's the case. And I think that's why a lot of people are watching this case, is because the things we know that should have happened that would have already nipped that in the butt didn't take place. Then we could move on. You see what I'm saying? So it became a racially charged issue when you see what you've seen in the photos, and then when you see how they handled the case, and then when you see the cover up. When you see all of those things, that domino effect starts to happen, those red flags start happening, then you start wondering, is this a racial hate crime? Because it very well could be. And you can't rule it out. From the information that we have right now, we don't have enough information to rule it out. So I think we got to keep it on the table. And I think we got to put pressure on these people. Like my man was saying, as far as with them going through the whole process, that's when that type of stuff will come to the light. But because there is no pressure, because there is protection, we're seeing something that looks like a cover-up. This looks like one of the biggest cover-ups that we've seen in a long time. That could be a racial issue. That very well could be a racial crime. That very well could be a hate crime. And we can't take it off the table. And I think it's foolish for people to keep trying to take it off the table and try to give them an out.
Because that's how investigations work.
You're interrupting. Close your big fat lips and listen to me and let me finish speaking first. Okay? We have
Is
to
that time ever going to come?
I mean, it must be your time of the month because you're spazzing out in the middle of me talking right now.
I've been waiting for you to shut up for 2 months.
You went on your long rant and nobody interrupted you. As long-winded as you are, you went on that whole diatribe and rant and nobody got involved. We let you finish. You gave every excuse other than the facts. What I'm giving you right now is the cold hard facts.
They're not facts.
Something
They're
you're
fantasies.
not used to.
They're myths and fantasies.
That's what I live in your world.
Facts.
I'm in your fantasies. You go to sleep dreaming about me. You wake up thinking about me. Get over it. The same way these kids felt about Nolan Wells.
You're just making it up.
Okay,
you're making it up.
You're just upset because you're starting to see uncovering the truth.
I'm not
upset. At the end of the day, we're going to get to the truth.
I'm explaining to you that that's not how the justice system works.
Some innocent kid died, and you tried to throw dirt on his name.
He wasn't a kid.
You tried to say
he wasn't a kid. Calm down, lady.
What was he in high school?
Calm down, lady.
Was he still in school? Was he still in school?
No, calm down, lady. He was 18 years old. He was an adult.
While I'm talking, let me finish talking,
adult.
And then you can open up your blabber.
He was an adult. He wasn't a kid.
Let me finish my point. I never got to finish my point.
All right, so yeah, T Reezy, go ahead and finish your point, because then Dane's going to respond to you.
What we're seeing right now is we're seeing a lot of big names get involved on both sides, and I think this is good for the situation because eventually we're gonna get the full story. And he's saying, people saying, oh, there shouldn't be people on the Instagram or social media detectives. I think there should be more of that because it actually puts pressure on the people who aren't doing their job to actually step up to the plate and do their job, because we're getting more information from the people who aren't getting paid to be involved in the investigation. They're the ones who are actually getting to the bottom of this and decoding the 9/11 call so that way we can actually hear the audio, so we can actually hear what's said. And I don't understand how either one of them could have heard that call and then still argued, oh, well, he was drinking. He could have been dehydrated. If you heard the same call that I had, how are we not coming to the same logical conclusion of it's a good possibility that he was murdered and he didn't just disappear? I don't know too many people that will leave their phone behind anywhere and they expect us to believe
how long
that.
was this kid?
Have you ever been on a boat? Have you ever been on a boat on an island?
Your next response.
Have you ever been on a boat on an island?
Hold on, T-Reason. Hold on, I'm gonna read this comment real quick.
T-Reason.
Hold on, T-Reason.
Get your panties in a bunch.
Yeah.
Because you're over here on this rant.
Says the man who's been interrupting everybody all night.
Calm your tits.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, we go. Hold on real quick.
That's
Hold
all
on real quick, T-Reason.
He does all that.
I'm gonna get Leo B in real quick.
And talk for the longest amount of time, and now I'm spitting facts, and he can't handle it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, hold on.
You've been interrupting everybody all night. There's only been one person you haven't interrupted.
Okay, hold on real quick, Wiki. I'm gonna get this. So Leo Bobia says facts. T, you can't even answer one simple question. I've asked 3 times what is happening. All you have are thinly veiled whataboutisms. Why did this become racial? Because it could be. She also says, if I'm going to be praying for everyone wanting to make this about race hard tonight, that they can find peace and self-love instead of seeing their entire race as perpetual victims for making friends. So real quickly, before we do that, that's I want to give Will, you have anything you want to say to these comments?
Man. Yeah, man, I don't want to go off too long or whatever on a tangent, man. But kind of like T Reason was saying, you know, when it's a situation like this, how do you take it off of the table in you know, in good faith or just in your own analysis of how these things play out? You know, this is not anywhere near close. A situation like this has happened just strictly based on the water. I'm talking about a black kid in the water. You know, we just had a case. These 2 kids had a kid. They was jumping off the bridge or they was jumping in the water doing something. He drowned. They took his clothes, threw it in the tree. I don't know if y'all heard about that case. Threw it in the tree, took his phone. I think they broke it, threw it out the car a little bit down the road, and then they later had to confess to it. Like, so many cases of these type of things going on. That's not even talking about these random lynchings that keep popping up. Or I can't say lynchings, but people found hung under suspicious circumstances. Even one kid legs was broken and hung himself. You know what I mean? Like, you're a bad dude, you could do that, you know, but it's been popping up. I mean, we still live in societies where, you know, there are definitely still sundown towns. I still see Confederate flags flying, you know, prominently here in Texas. You see them on cars. I personally know of situations where, you know, suspected Klan members, I'll say that, you know, have put in work. And she talks about Bob because it's in Mississippi. Yes, exactly, because it's in Mississippi. You can't rule it out, take it off the table. I mean, that's Emmett Till. My father was born the same year Emmett Till was born in Greenville, Mississippi. I lived in Mississippi as well, in Greenville for a few years. So I can go into that a little bit. But yeah, you talking, you know, Medgar Evers, that was Mississippi. Civil rights. My father was alive when Medgar got killed. He was about 10 years old. He speaks to me about, you know, the community, how they felt during that time. Like, when you have situations like this, like I spoke to earlier about, you know, certain societies and ritualistic killings, these things don't just dissipate and die off as fast as some people would like to think. Like, the reality for somebody that looks like me is this. The UN has said that the transatlantic slave trade was the greatest crime and atrocity in the history of mankind on this planet. So people like to throw that out and say, okay, well, yeah, well, you know, we were slaves as well, or yeah, the Holocaust and things like that. But you're looking at a different animal when you say the greatest atrocity against mankind. You're talking even on different continents, you know, thousands of years, not just here in America, the 500 we still endure and
Somebody got some background noise.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the what still endures to this day, but not that recently ago. I mean, we come from.
Let me get these comments in real quick, Will, and then we'll get back to. But you make some really good points here. So we got, you know, with Ben saying when T Reason is the smartest person in the room, T Reason is the only person in the room. And then we got the Common Code says, I need the Amazon link for that Kango, Dane. Question for Felicia: why is the memorial being done by a man who neither knows the family nor the deceased? Why Al Sharpton doing this besides exploitation?
That's your opinion. It's not fact. Just because you state an opinion.
There we go. And then
it seems like all your opinions are facts.
No, so I'm talking facts.
So we got Common Code says YouTube limits the character count, so excuse the grammar to make question fit. Common Cold also is Wicked. I'll post an Amazon link to fix that fridge. I think Wicked's still trying to figure out what you mean by the fridge. He's still trying to
What are
figure
you
out.
even talking about?
Yeah.
I
Like
think
literally.
what he's talking about. I think what he's talking about is the angle of your phone makes it look like it's leaning at a weird
Probably.
angle.
You realize it's like there ain't nothing wrong with the fridge. There ain't even nothing on it. He's just retarded. It's okay.
Like
Hey,
a lot of his
listen.
comments.
You just
So yeah, like a lot of his comments. Okay, yeah, they're coming at you, Common Cold, man. You got get these boys the flu. So yeah, Leo Bobia, holy wow, you're a fool, sir. When you got to try this hard to make things racial, it shows me one thing: you lived a nice, safe, privileged life, and I'm glad for that. Maybe you should be too.
Is that aimed toward me?
I think that's aimed towards you. If I had to give a guess, hold on. Before you respond, let me just read this comment. And you respond to
Yeah.
both of them.
Hard at all.
Leah Babia says, our realities are the same, man. The only difference is my reality is reality.
Nah.
You want to talk about atrocity. How many abortions have we had just in America since 1960? 70 million.
That's off topic. That's off
What
topic.
does that have to do with what we were talking about, this case in Mississippi being racial? She got to understand, Mississippi, like I just said, 1960s, Medgar Evers, civil rights leader, murdered by a Klan member. You got Fannie Lou Hamer, who put it out there that was a part of the Mississippi, what did they call it? The Mississippi, anyway, that's where they were performing hysterectomies and sterilizing thousands of black women for years. In her community, she underwent the process unknowingly. 60% of the women in her community had underwent, sterilizations and hysterectomies and things like that they had no clue that these medical professionals were performing on them in order to stop the birth of more black babies and race control. She got to understand, I come from a place where they had Negro cookbooks, how to cook a nigga and eat them. You know what I'm saying? Like, the hair was used for stuffing in pillowcases. The skin was used for chairs and things like that. You got to understand, when you living under attack, there's nothing privileged about this right here.
But
you got to be a certain person to walk this aisle, man, or sir, whoever that is.
Hold on, yeah. Will Dane brought up a point. Go ahead, Dane. So what you want to say?
I was just saying, I get what you're saying, but none of that is going on now, and none of that's been going on.
Man, stop, Dane. Come on, fam. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Give me an example of somebody who has published a cookbook for cooking black people. I'll wait.
I'm saying that same energy resonates, and that frequency resonates today.
Going on now. It's not going on now. See, that's what I'm
Wicked's a chef. Wicked will tell y'all, Wicked's a chef. No,
this is what I've been talking about.
I've never seen one.
Stream.
Bad time to bring this up. Sorry, Dave.
Too soon, right? This is what I've been talking about the whole stream. Is people are digging up stuff like that and they're reading it into the Nolan Wells death.
No,
now
the same way.
But do we want to discuss the racial atrocities that's happened in the history of mankind? We can go on all night about that.
The same way.
Talk about the Nolan Wells killing, none of that's happening. Ain't nobody stuffing pillows with hair.
The same way.
Black people. So none of that applies at all.
The same way.
Hold on, quick. Before you respond, Will, everybody out there in the audience, all my folks out there that appreciate critical thinking and good conversation, like, subscribe, share. Join the panel if you want to. We can send you the link. Let's get busy. Go ahead, Will.
The same way T-Reason.
Let's read this comment real quick. So yeah, we got some comments. Hold on before you respond. We got some comments here.
The other one was a new comment too.
Yeah, so we got this one says right here, the common cold says T-Reason didn't answer the exploitation question.
I can answer that. He's saying that Al Sharpton was exploiting. So then you could say the same thing about Officer Tatum interviewing those kids. You could say the same thing about Candace Owens' whole entire platform. You could say the same thing about Charlie Kirk. Everything is exploitation at that case if you're going to say that.
Got you. Okay. The Restless says the missing internal structure where the trachea, laryngeal cartilages, I don't know what that first word, thyroid horn.
It's your throat.
Yeah, yeah. And then hyoid bone, I'm sure I missed this missing letter somewhere, were removed from the original examiner in Mississippi. Why not send them as well with the body? So that's the question we got right there. Anybody want to answer that one?
Because that's not normal operating procedure. People assume without any knowledge or even sound research into a subject, they assume that they know how something works because someone with an agenda feeds that information to them, or they just think they're that smart. Anybody who has a second autopsy done on anybody, on any human being at all, the same thing is going to happen. People assume that, oh, well, I'll get a second autopsy, and then my guy, since he works for me, he's going to tell me the truth. You can't unring a bell. So once you cut this organ or you cut that organ or you pour stomach juices out and such, once you do all of that, you can't send and get a second autopsy from the second medical examiner and him have the same body, the same material to examine that the first guy. You can't ring a bell. When it comes to these things like the throat, the thyroid horn and that kind of stuff, that's stuff that was likely sent off to other labs and such to be examined. Plus, if there has been foul play, I'm sure that everybody on the panel would agree, we want the most solid case to convict the foul player that we can have. So I would want, if it was, well, I do want the state of Mississippi to have the best case they can. And if that means, well, we need to make sure we keep this material for evidence for when we have a trial, so we can't send it off to Washington, D.C. for some dog and pony show for Al Sharpton and Ben Crump. From my perspective, having the strongest case possible to convict whoever killed Nolan, if there is a killer, is a lot more important than making sure that Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and the people that he has misled feel good like, oh, well, we know everything now. The case against the killer, if he exists, it's so weak that he's going to walk free. But at least I've been told all the information, so I'm happy. But that's why it wasn't.
So sorry, real quick, Dane. Like, does anybody disagree with Dane that wants to speak to the comment? To reason, Will, do you disagree with him at all? If not, we can go to the next.
I couldn't really understand the rant he was going on, to be honest.
Okay, gotcha.
I didn't understand his point.
So now we got Leo Bobia saying, you mentioned atrocities, sir, brought up the Holocaust and transatlantic slavery trade, etc. None of those things compared to the pile of babies we have ourselves smurdered. So that's what she was saying. Well, that's why she was bringing up that part.
Well, I mean, I didn't label it personally the greatest atrocity. I guess these were people more educated than me came to this consensus that that's what it was. But I mean, I would say this about it, is since she's talking about abortions and things like that, yeah. But I would like to think that a large fraction of those, maybe, I don't know how many, but a lot of the ones that I personally saw understanding coming up was the person walking themselves into the clinic to maybe get it done. I'm talking about forcefully babies being taken from you, ripped out, killed, sold, not somebody who maybe had something consensual or didn't. I don't know. But a lot of them I seen was something consensual. They wanted to, not have a kid at their time, and they took advantage of those services. But we can also talk about how and why, Planned Parenthood and abortion clinics was created and by who, and who the purpose was to stop the birth of more day babies.
So hold on, hold on real quick, Will. That's a good point. We're gonna go to the next comment real quick here. So we got next one. The common code says, "Buddy with silky sound like a 1950s history book. No applications for today." So I guess they're saying that the examples were old. And we got Scully from Common Code, and then Leo Bobia says, "Okay, tell you what, you win. You're the biggest victim. Your people have had it the worst in all of human history. Now what? What does that give you? How does that help you? You want a trophy?"
That's not the point. That's not the
and
point.
Then, hold on. Let me read the next comment she has here. It says, maybe if we can teach the next few generations that people of all colors and creeds are equal and made in the image of God, racism will disappear in their lifetime. It's not the whites. And then let me see here. Keeping it. It's not the whites keeping it alive. And then I'm gonna read the rest of these, and then we get. It's a question, not an assumption, sir. I see. You have something against them, not really about the road to truth. asking about all the wrestler says asking about all the organs sent to the second examiner versus this talk about Ben Crump and Sharpen are not the same. Interesting how that came up though. That's for Dane, I guess, right there. And then with Ben says, does Will know what per capita means? Does he really want to have an abortion conversation? Okay, so yeah, you go ahead, Will. You're on mute, Will. Go ahead. You're on Will. You're on mute, Will.
You gotta unmute. Will, unmute yourself. You muted.
You muted.
There you go.
Hello. Oh yeah, nah. I wasn't speaking about abortion. Abortion was brought.
Abortion up.
Yeah, abortion was brought to the table. But I said if we're going to speak on, I guess, babies being ripped from their mother and lead that on up into the establishment of these facilities and Planned Parenthood and things like that, Margaret Sanger and all of those things about how this was constructed and who it was for, then we can definitely get into that. You know what I'm saying? That also plays into the systematic supremacist racial construct that we see. It's not about being a victim. It's not about wanting a cookie or any of that. It's just about keeping it real with reality and laying things out for what they are. I'm speaking historically. She's acting like what I'm saying is not recorded, documented, and something factual. That's the problem we're having today with the government, the presidency, and all that. We see every few generations, they love to erase, rewrite, but I like rewrite. I like that. I'm gonna use that. Rewrite and mud, whitewash and rewrite history. We know this. So the fact that somebody is saying, if you just forget about it, it'll go away. The fact that it's always getting erased and it goes nowhere is the bigger problem, because nobody can learn if you keep trying to hide the truth about everyone and what's been taking place and been going on for so long.
That,
so I mean, what do you mean the truth? I want people to be honest. That's what I want.
Got you. Appreciate that. We're gonna read. I'm gonna read this comment. We're gonna get into this next one. So it says, so with Ben says, yes, so let's speak on it. That was my point. Can't continue to blame whites for black decisions. Then it says,
here's the thing.
What Ben also says, stop aborting, stop going to Planned Parenthood. Just stop. A choice. What? And then Leo Babia says, sir, you realize that Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist? Yes. Eugenicist, yes. Every black woman's abortion is literally fulfilling her dream. Black people are in the most danger in their mother's womb, statistically. And then what Ben says, take accountability. So I want to give Will, you a chance first to address that, but then everybody's gonna get a chance to address the comments and what's been said so far. So you got a minute right now, sir. Go ahead.
Oh man, it's hilarious a little bit, but it's really not. You know what I mean? I mean, she was a eugenist, right? You know what I'm saying? And just like I said, there has been a concerted effort to stop the birth rates and babies being took and things like that. Like, this is what we know. And it seems like everybody has a sense of academia until it comes to dealing with us, dealing with black people. Everybody will be like, oh yeah, mental health is a real thing. And you therapy, people need therapy and to unpack the traumas and things like that. Well, if you're living within the greatest atrocity in the history of mankind for centuries, you don't think there's some trauma to unpack? The fact that we thrive and continue to do so in the face of these systems of oppression that we see not just here but abroad, the fact that we continue to do so and thrive in the face of that, is that sounding like a victim to me? No, that's sounding like people who continue, but also who don't choose to forget and choose to daily fight against these same systems that's been in place before you or anybody on this panel
Appreciate you, Will.
been born. You know what I'm saying? This is what
Wicked.
This is about.
Man,
hold on, Will.
Man.
Yeah.
Cooking up, man.
Okay, Wicked. Now your turn. Go ahead, man. You got a minute and 20 seconds.
I mean, there's a lot to what he's saying about the Planned Parenthood. He's absolutely right. It was actually targeted to create less black babies. That was literally the whole purpose of it, was to have less black women having babies. There's no doubt about that at all. But I think what Leah's speaking to the fact of is that I believe it's 28% of the black women abort their babies. And the most reason is just because of like, oh, I don't want the baby, or I can't afford it, or something. It doesn't have to do with the life or the health of the mother or the child. In most cases, there are cases where it does. So I could see where they're both coming from. But I also believe that if a group of people continue to live into the past, things that happened, yes, things that happened in the past were fucked up. Should they have happened? Absolutely not. But if you continue to live in the past, you're never going to be able to build a future, no matter what situation you're in.
Why does everybody call it the
You
past?
still got
Though?
20
That's my
seconds. Wait,
question.
hold on,
Why
hold
is
on.
everybody?
Is it happening? I call it the past. Is it happening today? In today's world,
Yes, just like I was gonna
slavery,
tell.
slavery.
Just like I was.
Show me where slavery is happening in the U.S. today, please.
Just like we were gonna speak, or I was gonna say
Hold on, quick,
today
Will.
earlier.
Hold on, quick, Will, because I want to. We got to get Dane in. We don't forget that question right there. That's a good question. So I think we got to cover. I'm gonna write that down so we can make sure we cover this about comparing the past to the day. And I think people are taking issue with that, and some people agree with it. So, but real quick, going to Dane, real quick. Dane, in a minute and 30, what you got?
Man, look, between T-Reason and then Will and everything they've had to say.
Too much facts coming your way.
Hold on, T-Reason. Go ahead.
I mean, I've just got to the point where I'm just going to let children just rattle till they get it out. So what I'm saying is I've kind of lost track of where the conversation was going, but I would like to ask, like, all of the things that Will's bringing up about history, I say all of them. A lot of them I know are true. I'm going to grant that all of them's true. You know, I got no argument against whether or not blacks were mistreated. But my question is, what that I asked earlier, what level of evidence in the Nolan Wells investigation? Because my understanding is we were here to debate out or to talk about and discuss the Nolan Wells death and the investigation and stuff surrounding it, and not to rehash whether or not black people were mistreated, historically speaking. I think everybody could agree, unless they're just stone cold ignorant, that yes, black people were given a disservice historically in this country. So from my perspective, that's not even an argument to have, but I'm not sure how that has to do with the stuff that we know with the Nolan Wells case. So I'm curious as to what the threshold is of evidence when the grand jury sees the evidence. If the grand jury says this looks like there was no foul play, it was just a terrible accident, will that be enough? And if not, then what will be enough? To address something that T-Reason I know said, Will may have said this as well, but I know T-Reason did, the question of that should not be taken off of the table. My position is that within the justice system, within investigating something that could be a crime especially, but any incident like this where it's an unexpected death like this, I don't understand why that would have to be put on the table to begin with without there being other evidence to indicate that it might be a race crime. Because the only evidence that I've heard anybody say on this panel, as well as social media since July the 4th when he came up missing to begin with, is, well, he was with white people. And so he was with white people, so we should automatically consider it's a race issue with no other evidence that it would be a race issue. Because part of my fear in having that mindset is this. There are a lot of people, yes, even in the state of Mississippi, there are a lot of people who are white people like me who spend time with black people. And sometimes the black people will only be 1 or 2 or 3 in the group, just like Nolan was. And one of my concerns is with this situation with Nolan Wells is that it's going to set back race relations because there's going to be loads of white people who are going to start acting towards blacks the same way that a lot of men act towards women when they say, I'm not going to be on the elevator alone with a woman. I'm not going to ride in the car alone with a woman. I'm only going to have discussions with a woman at work that's strictly business because believe all women. All she has to do is make an allegation, and I have to hire lawyers and defend myself. And even if I defend myself successfully, my reputation is still toast. What I see coming out of how this has been handled in the community, in the public opinion, is it's going to make people like me, who has zero shred of hate, hard feelings, desire for harm against blacks or any other non-white, non-Christian, whatever, non-American person, but they're going to start and think, man, if we include these couple of guys in the neighborhood or these couple of guys I work with to go on our hunting trip, and if they fool around, get seriously injured or killed, because getting killed on a hunting trip is not unusual, it's hunting accidents happen. We need to be concerned that their family and the black community and these butt-kissing white liberals are going to get in the news and think we committed a hate crime, regardless of the fact that we clearly love these guys. We have a history of it. There's no explicit evidence for it other than we're white.
Let me go and get in there real quick.
We need to step back.
Yeah, good point. First, what you said reminded me of the movie Life, one of my top 5 favorite movies right there.
I love that movie.
That's literally an entire scene based off of that point right there.
Y'all so young. I got
no idea. Mississippi.
Yeah, state of Mississippi. It's literally what we're talking about right now.
Don't care.
I got no idea. I don't watch that many movies,
Tell about the
man.
line,
But people y'all's age must watch a lot more movies than I do.
That's Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. You gotta check that one out. You'll love that one.
You lucky because I ain't nice like Boss here is.
Yeah, there you go.
So all right, y'all. So two reasons. You got 2 minutes because I gave Dane more time. So yeah, go ahead. You got 2 minutes right here. You can address what Dane said plus other comments, whatever the case may be. Go ahead.
Man, it was so much I wanted to address that I don't even have everything top of mind. I mean, like I said, you can't rule it out. And the fact that anybody's trying to rule it out, it means they're aiding to a cover-up. When you see a situation like this and you have two different sides of a story and we don't have the whole story, we need to wait until we have the whole story. But we also can't ignore the elephant in the room. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, God damn it, it's a duck. And if it looked like a beach ball, have the brain of a beach ball, and talk like a beach ball, God damn it, that's Dane. And it's a shame that we have this type of situation take place, and we see the people who are supposed to be the ones to get to the bottom of this get lax. That's why we have to put more eyes on it, so they don't take their eye off the ball, so they don't overlook evidence, so they don't leave a stone unturned. And until we can get to the bottom of this and we can have some dialogue where we can have the interviews that need to be had with the girl that they keep saying was the last person he was with, where's her testimony? You know what I'm saying? Certain things that are obvious to anybody looking at this case that stone still hasn't been turned, because it looks more and more like what we're seeing, which is a cover-up. And for anybody to say they don't believe in a hate crime, that's like saying that people don't commit crimes out of hate. People to say there's no such thing as a racial crime, that's like saying we're going to ignore the entire history of this country. And when you have people getting upset and saying, well, you want to always make this a racial issue, you think that's what we want to do? You think we want to always have to pay attention to this? We want to live our normal lives just like everybody else. But to be persecuted because of the color of your skin in America is crazy, and to still have to deal with the same problems that people say don't exist anymore is crazy. And this is why we get so much attention from people like Al Sharpton, people that get involved in certain issues, because if we don't have those pillars in place, now we don't have a person that has enough expertise to make sure that the investigators, the police that's involved aren't doing the things that they need to be doing, because they've seen them not do it in other cases. You see what I'm saying? So it's never a bad thing when we have eyes on an innocent person dying and people trying to get to the bottom and figure out what happened and figure out what took place. We're not saying that's what happened, but it damn sure looked like it. And for anybody to say, oh, well, that's not the case and you're a fool to think that, and why do you always assume that? Well, how many times has it been the case in the past? And history repeats itself. And that's when it's a number I can't count to.
Well, yeah. So hold on quick.
So 4.
So what's that, like 3?
Hold on, before we get the comments real quick. I didn't say a number comments. You couldn't count to. I said a number I can't count to. Yeah, let's get to these 3 comments real quick, and then
you can only speak for yourself. You can't speak for me.
Well, you just seem to always want to speak just to hear yourself talk. So
that's what you're doing right now. You're interrupting me while I'm talking. You need to be
Oh, you
listening.
don't like what being done to
No, you
you.
should
Poor
just be
baby.
listening more, man. You'll learn something.
Oh,
You
All
should
right, so here
listen
we
more
got
and
poor
get
here.
out loud.
baby.
So right,
Oh,
we got with Ben saying this right here. They want to bring up so many other points to obfuscate, but they will get demolished on all the other points they bring up anyway. And then with Ben says these are just bad arguments. Leah
Opinion don't
Bobia
make the
says,
fact.
so why are black women still aborting black babies? Are you missing the point? Nobody
You
denied
missing
that
the
was the
point.
case, but black people are supporting it. Then we got the next one right here. It says, oh, we already covered that one.
Yeah, I mean, Ben
It says,
does have
what Ben says, Will, what about the trauma from being slaves in Africa over thousands of years? Stop blaming the white man.
First of all,
Last comments. You want me to comment? Let me get to this right here. It says, Restless says black/African American 38% to 40%, white, non-Hispanic 30%, 33% Hispanic, Latin 21% to 22%, Asian and other multiracial groups 6 to 8%. Gave us to break down the percentages. Leo Babia says, right, your people overcame. Then today you use your struggle as your aesthetic. I think that's aesthetic. And that's a whole new level of diabolical.
Terrible way to reframe that in your mind. Your reality is warped. That is a horrible way to reframe that in your mind. That is not.
And then there's a Leo Babia says, and Vulcan, you killing it. Amazing work tonight. And then Restless says slavery was not the topic. Then Leo Bobia says, neither was abortion, and that one was my fault. Sorry. True enough. Back on topic. Let me get here.
They get triggered. Leah and the other guy was getting triggered. They got off topic.
So right here is let me go up. I'm missing one. I gotta start giving Freshly and Enos more credit for doing these comments. I see exactly, Dane. There's one I'm missing exactly, Dane. Yeah, there's one right here I'm trying to get to, but I can't scroll up. Oh, there we go. Exactly, Dane. There we go. And then Restless says we already do it in some places, especially with white women and children. And then the Common Cold says Felicia cooking. And then the Common Cold says, what would Dane and Wicked's fridge have to see to say that was racial? Leo Bobia says, sir, I don't want to hear a word about being persecuted. You are protected legally from such, societally from such, socially from such. The Hawaiians are literally the only unprotected people.
What?
And then last two comments
and
we got here.
I'm deranged and delusional.
Yeah. Last two comments we heard. Leo B says, sir, it's not redrawing. It's showing you your own behavior. If you can't handle it, be better.
Oh, I thought she wrote red line, and I thought she said red line.
Yeah, red line.
What I thought you wrote was what red is that red line?
Yeah. It's probably red line. It's probably red line. Yeah.
No. I'm just joking because
the red drawing.
People.
And so I'm not triggered, not even slightly. One of these days I'll come up and give you a few of my thoughts. Get ready, though. You think Dane is so mean? She's warning everybody. Says, I meant reframing. Okay, so reframing. Okay, so we got the comments.
She is mean.
So we covered a lot right there. So real quickly, we covered the topics as far as the Nolan stuff that I had question. I want to give everybody a chance to kind of anybody have anything that's left on the table they want to cover?
I do. It's not nothing new, but I do have something I'd like to say.
Common Cold says, Buddy missing his front tooth and wearing the Scully reading straight off of 1950s textbooks. I'm not sure who he's referring to on that one. But yeah, so yeah, go ahead, Dane.
No, I would just like to point
out
what
front tooth. Nigga talking about me.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Talking about me,
man. Don't even pay him too much.
I really am missing up. I really am.
Like, nigga, I got all my teeth, nigga, and they beautiful. What are you talking about? My smile better than whoever wrote that.
Yeah,
shit. What are you talking about?
I actually am missing a front tooth, but I got a crown, but I actually am missing a front tooth. For a minute,
I got all my teeth, nigga. No cavities either, buddy. What are you talking about?
So you get long in the tooth. It's a good thing.
I don't know.
Not missing a tooth. I'm getting long in the tooth. Tell him
that part.
If I could say though, first of all, that common cold dude, whatever he is, said something about my Kango. This ain't no Kango. I can't afford Kango, man. These are Boston Scallies, man. I got a whole stack of them, man. See, look at here. See See how the inside, this is the Grateful Dead. You see that inside? Yeah, see here's my, see, this is the baseball, the beach ball one I think that T. Reason talked about earlier. It's actually a slush puppy. But anyway, that's what it is. But I do appreciate you for recognizing, appreciating my
he said, keep cooking, brother, just speed it up.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
but no, what I'd like to ask though,
yeah, Dan, you had a question for I guess for T Reason, Will, and Wicked. Go ahead.
Yeah, like I've heard say several times tonight in almost 3 hours we've been on stream, things like more eyes on it, more, they need to have more interviews, they need to have more this, that, and the other. I just want to point out, and I'd love for someone to like actually logically, not just make these claims like they're talking about Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter or something, but actually concrete explain to me how it is that they have any idea how many eyes have been on it or how many interviews have been done. Like the question of, well, these boys need to be interviewed more, or what about this girl Katie? That's something T. Reese just said. What about this girl Katie, or whatever, supposedly with him? What has she had to say? And this, that, and the other. Why hadn't she been interviewed? Again, I keep reiterating this. Nobody on this panel, nobody outside of the DA and the sheriff department and the people involved in that in Mississippi have any idea about that. That's exactly what I'm pointing out when I say people are taking their lack of information and then they're filling in that gap with all sorts of things, whether it's stuff from way back at Emmett Till, it's farther on back into slavery, whatever the case may be. We don't know, and they're filling that in. So I'm interested. Like, we'll just take, for instance, how, we need more eyes on the evidence or more eyes on the situation. T. Reason, how many eyes have been on it thus far that's not enough to suit you?
I'm saying anytime you have a murder and there's information that
I'm asking you a direct question, please.
I'm giving you a direct answer.
No, you're not. No, you're not. How many eyes? How many eyes? You made the claim. Defend your claim. How many eyes, T. Reason? How many? It's a simple question, dipshit. How many eyes have been on it? How many eyes, T. Reason? How many eyes have been on it? How many? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You started going off on another gift gallop. How many eyes? How many eyes? How many eyes? It's a simple question, man. It's a simple question. It's a simple question, Felicia. It's a simple question. It's how many eyes have been on the case? How many eyes have been on the case?
Just be quiet for 2 seconds, and
he does not know. He does not know, but he's making a claim to know something that he doesn't know. And that's
the irony is great for here.
Cannot.
All right, so yeah, so I'm trying to share a screen or something, but I can't find it. Let's just start all over.
You pulled it out of your fucking ass, man, because you don't know. You made it the fuck up.
No, y'all. Let's reset. Let's reset. I'm trying to share my screen and it didn't work.
I know you want me to be quiet. I know you want me to be quiet because I just proved that you don't have a clue what you claim to know. You don't have a clue to.
Hey, let me. I want to change the course.
How many eyes? Simple as that.
I'm just gonna mute everybody real quick to do this real quick. Hold on, because I just want to do a change of tabs real quick right here. We stay on the topic, so everybody hear this out real quick. We're still staying on the topic. You can still say everything you want to say. But I'm going to add another question to it while we're having this conversation right here, because this is the Vulcan Soapbox. It's not just about the topic. It's also about how we're handling the topic. And as Dane pointed out earlier, we were having a conversation about the conversation, a meta conversation, as some might call it earlier, which was at a place where we're still staying on the topic. But now that we've kind of covered most of the questions, we can add a little bit of the meta to it. So I want to do that. But before I do that, I'm going to go cover these questions real quick, and then we're going to get into it. So we got Leo Bobia says, and you use the words of your oppressor. Foo, that is cognitive dissonance. Like, is it loud all at once or like a constant low hum? And then so Common Code says, Dane cooking this point as a sponsor of Strawberry Smokers Jelly. Keep going, brother. And then the Common Code says Strawberry Smokers Jelly. And then the comment code says, Dane cooking at this point as a representative of Strawberry Smucker's Jelly. And so yeah, Dan will be right back. He's refilling his water real quick. So we're gonna go into this. So we're gonna go into this question right here I have. And you can keep on talking about the topic, but we're also going to talk about the way we're having the conversation, which some would say is even more important than the actual conversation. And so let me go to this right here. It says, so we're going to go right this one right here. So give a pro and a con about the other panelists' debate style just on this show. Try not to factor in other shows right here. You know, actually, we'll wait till Dan gets back for this one right here, so we can make catch it. So yeah, go ahead. Y'all go ahead and finish discussing what y'all want to discuss. Oh, I got a question for y'all while we're waiting on this right here. So y'all know TMZ just released the conversation that's been had, the audio that was released. They've been doing their engineering enhancements to be able to get us the audio a little bit. We got stuff like from a TMZ release, from what I'm seeing that they released. If this is correct, it says, "Can we cover it up?" Yeah, I thought all about that. Oh, you killed him. He's already dead. Is he dead? Yeah. Yells Nolan. Oh my God. Nolan, wake up. Inaudible but clear. Wyatt, wake up. Get up. Damn it, Bart. Nolan's really, deceased now. So that's kind of sad thing to hear. But anybody got any comments on this recent information that's coming as far as the audio? While waiting on Dane to get back.
Which audio are you referring to?
That's the newly released audio of the one of the call that was had, the recording of the people as they were talking about. I guess what it seems to be is people were there. Maybe I'm not sure.
To the dispatch of the CETO.
Okay, there we go.
So when I heard that recording, I didn't hear any of that. And then it's also, like I said to you before, when they're on the recording with the CETO, they are less than 100 yards out from the shoreline, surrounded by hundreds of boats. And if there was a body on that boat, people would have seen it.
You can see what happens inside.
If you go, what I want you to do is there is a video of the boat being towed. If you look at the boat itself, you could see by looking at the boat that if there was a body, or it's an open boat, it's not like it's a boat that has rooms inside of it. It's just like there's a boat, there's a place to drive the boat, and everything is open. You can see everybody on the boat. You can see on the boat. You can see everything. It's not like you can hide something on that boat. There was no covers. There's no covers. There's no little room where you can go down into, where some boats have that little room by.
There was nothing they could have potentially used.
If you look at the boat, you could see that you can clearly see everything that's on the boat. If there was people in the boat, and when they made that call, they were less than 100 yards off of there was less than 100 yards. They were pretty much at the shoreline. When you give out the coordinates, when they gave out the coordinates, they were close to the shoreline. People could see them.
You would think, right?
What do you mean? I would think. Well, when you're surrounded on an island,
people don't make mistakes. People are infallible.
Yes, you make plenty of mistakes. That is true.
Okay. So if someone actually did some foul play, you think they're not going to do everything they can to cover it up? You don't think that the people involved could have been involved to the level that they were?
Well, yes, if people do foul play, they might cover it up. But if you actually look at the boat, where are they going to hide it? Where are they going to hide a body on that specific boat?
You're saying where? Saying where?
So what I'm telling you,
if they did it and they got away with it, it doesn't matter where they were able to do it. It doesn't matter
they got away with it. They're surrounded by hundreds of people. They're surrounded by hundreds of people.
Man, you
hold on,
not
5 people, not 10 people.
That does not mean that something didn't happen.
Hold on, y'all. I'm gonna read these comments.
Hey, yo, Wicked. I'm curious about Wicked, what he was saying. Like, you ever seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Sorry, hold on, quick, Will. You can be to ask me that question. Let me just
a movie. You're really gonna compare a fake movie to something in real life?
I'm just saying, like,
bro, you're talking about
this is what I'm saying. You act as if rigor mortis had already set in for a freshly dead body to be sitting next to you. He doesn't have to be stretched out still. He can be sitting right next to you.
Listen. You've been making good points all night. Don't start reaching, please. You've been making good points all night, but you're reaching. Right now, you're reaching. If
you're saying that nobody saw, I'm saying if you're saying nobody saw this, what were they to see that would really be super abnormal with a guy that's dead propped up with his arm around you or your arm around him?
Like they don't see drunk people on these boats all the time.
Yeah, like he don't gotta appear dead to somebody that's 50 yards away or 100 yards away.
Like
I'm just keeping it real.
Right
Like
now.
there's not a possibility.
Have
you're
you?
not a laughing matter, and you're laughing though. Like
I'm laughing at the comparison to See, listen here, princess. Get out your feelings for a second. Listen here, lady. Get out your feelings for a second.
Okay,
You're the one
mama.
who's getting.
Okay, mama.
I'm trying to talk to him, and I'm not talking to you. So shut your mouth and let me talk to him. Because you just don't know how to shut up. Because I want to show you who I'm talking to is the man who's under me, not you. You just want to talk like all the time.
I can see it. I got 2
Oh,
eyes.
but it's so funny how you're.
Yeah. So let's
I use your eyes. It's just so funny how you compare. Oh, why are you cutting me off every stream? But yet you seem to cut everybody off all the time, and it's just so funny how you cry and cry and cry.
Reasonable comparison, and it's going straight over your head.
Weekend at Bernie's. You're gonna say weekend at Bernie's.
And you couldn't even.
Weekend at Bernie's is a logical comparison.
This is what I'm saying.
Hold on a second. When I give you logical, actual factual, logical
response.
No. What I'm saying is this: how is it supposed to look to you, visualizing a dead body on a boat that you're looking at? Like what would you think that you would see that would let you know, hey, that's a dead body right there on their boat?
Well, one would be there would be a body laying there. Have you ever tried to pick up a dead body, like an actual pick up a dead body, just dead weight of a person?
What is that?
Why would he be? Why can't he be sitting there? In the pictures, the photos, they were sitting there hugged up. And all the photos, they sitting there hugging each other.
If you look at all those photos of them after that part, when they're towing the boat, he's not even on the boat. When they were in the boat and making that phone call, they were literally almost on the shoreline, surrounded by people. So if something was to happen, it would happen on the island, surrounded by people. Or if it happens and you're saying that it happened on the boat where he wasn't even there.
Where it happened. You don't know where it
and
happened.
Neither do you, but yet you want to seem like you do.
No, you're saying it has to.
No, I never said it has to.
You said it has to have happened on the island or on the boat. You're saying where it has
No, I'm telling you where they were when that phone call was being made.
Who is that saying I never seen a dead body? What do you mean? What is this person talking about? Of course I have. Oh man, that's crazy. Dead people don't be looking dead like
no, listen,
that. They be looking
talking about
sleep.
Actually, what I'm
they be
talking
looking
about
like they chilling. They be looking like they sleep.
What I'm talking about is actually lifting up a dead body.
Who's lifting them? You adding on like who's lifting him? Why are we lifting him? He's sitting there.
So you just said he would be propped up. You just said he would be propped up.
No.
Take that. That means you're lifting them up.
Take that photo. Take that photo where the 4 of them are sitting there together, where they all hugged up with the beers and the seltzers, and one of them died, and he's just there like, yo, head leaning to the side. Nobody from a distance, 50 yards, 100 yards away, can be like, yo, that kid is dead. You can't. You can't say that.
So what you're going to say to me is that nobody on the island saw them dragging a dead body from point A to the boat?
Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't.
No.
See, this
the
is the
picture.
kind of stuff.
The picture that I saw, I don't know if the boat actually got towed. I'm not sure it did.
The boat did get towed. I watched the video of the boat being towed. I literally watched the video of the boat being towed. That's how I know that it's a small boat. It's not really a small boat because you can fit a bunch of people on it, but it's not a boat where there's like rooms and like big yachts and stuff like that. It's just like a little charter, like a little small boat where, 10 people can fit on with an open area. It's just an open boat. There's no little rooms. There's no little things. There's a boat and a seat.
So hold on.
I thought the grandpa called off the tow.
So hold on real quick, Will. Dane has something he wants to say. What you said there, Dane?
Yeah, man, Lord, I need to give me one of them little red flags like they use on the Jubilee podcast, so I can just wave the red flag. Good God Almighty! I just want to point this out. The rest of the panel, well, except for you, because you're probably looking over your checkbook or something, counting all your money. You was deeply concentrating on something, but the rest of the panel is going down that rabbit hole of what if. I don't know if anybody on this panel has ever heard of a man named Calvin Parker and another man named Charles Hickson. Y'all can look them up, look both of them up. Back in the mid-'70s, they were supposedly had a close encounter of the third kind there in Pascagoula, which is just a city just north of Horn Island, so it's the same area. Supposedly they was abducted and probed and everything, and they both stood by their stories till they died like 50 years later. One of the guys, Calvin Parker, ended up in a mental hospital because of supposedly the trauma being probed by these extraterrestrials. I tend to think they're CIA, but that's a whole different conversation. So based on that, I'm just saying that what y'all are doing here, there's no end to it, because we could go to say, what if that flying saucer came and sucked Nolan up into the air and the aliens up there were his white friends and they did this, that, and the third. Everything y'all are arguing about right now, is coming out of three imaginations of what if, this, that, and the other could have happened, should have happened, would have happened. What we should be concentrating on is what actually happened and what we can prove actually happened. And if we find out that there was actually foul play, go to the courtroom and serve justice for that foul player. All of this stuff, we could go on for years and years and years coming up with new ideas about what coulda, shoulda, woulda. Our imaginations get to kicking. None of that has any effect on what was true or what happened. I would think that if people were as interested in finding justice for Nolan, that they would want to stick to what we actually know. And like I asked T-Reason, how many eyes have been on the investigation or on the evidence? Because he said we need to have more eyes on it. And we need to have, what about that girl? Why hadn't she been interviewed? I've asked him how he knows whether she's been interviewed or not. The answer to that question is he does not know. But the more we dig into that, there's a never-ending cascade of whatabouts. And I'm still anxious to know what threshold of evidence in this situation will be sufficient for people on the other side of the issue from me to say,
That's
what?
like asking somebody
it was an accidental drowning. It was an accidental drowning because they met my threshold of it. What's that threshold? And if there's no threshold, then why are we even arguing about it? Let's just decide, okay, we're just going to stop talking to each other and we're just going to hate each other and blame each other for our problems. If we don't have a threshold,
does anybody want to answer that question?
Reconciliation.
I think that's for, I'm assuming, Will and
he's making a lot of assumptions and saying we should make assumptions. That's crazy to me.
You're asking no assumption.
You did.
What assumption did I make?
The last thing you said. What was the last thing you just said?
I asked what your threshold of evidence was for you to finally, if the evidence comes out that it was an accidental drowning, what threshold does that evidence have to show for you to accept it versus coming out with another what about?
No, when you're looking at evidence, what you're basically saying is there's too much evidence. There's no such thing as too much evidence.
I didn't say that. You're straw manning my argument. Could you answer the question I asked?
That's what you're saying when you say
sermonizing about what you wish I would have asked.
We don't need to get all the information.
So you're just not going to answer my question. So you're just not going to answer my. That's cool. If you don't answer my question, I accept your concession, T-Reason. I accept your concession.
You don't understand what I'm saying.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
real quickly,
talking. You've conceded the point. I appreciate that.
So real quickly, I want to say this real quick. Will, did you want to take a shot at Dane's question? You're on mute. You're on mute.
You muted, Will.
You muted, Will.
Will, you muted.
He's sitting right now.
I don't know.
Oh, my bad. No, I was still stuck because I'm under the impression that the boat never got towed. Can somebody look that up real quick?
Well, hold on real quickly.
I don't think
did you want to?
Either.
So we're disputing whether the boat got towed. That's one thing.
I haven't seen everything. But I thought that the boat belonged to the granddaddy. He lives over in Biloxi, which is
he called off. I thought he called off.
It's just across Biloxi Bay from Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs is on the eastern bank of Biloxi Bay, and then Biloxi is on the western bank. So
I thought he talked to the captain. He called it off.
To dock it. Yeah, that was what I heard, was that the grandfather told the towboat captain No, they don't really need it. I don't know. Maybe the guys were panicking, and the grandfather was like, "Oh, they just panicking over nothing." Oh, I don't know why he did that, but yeah, that's what my understanding was. Was that Cito did not tow it,
Did
but I
not
mean,
tow
Wickett
them,
says
and
he
they
saw the video.
crept.
I don't know.
They crept slower than a walking pace for 53 minutes around the time of this call. They just crept away, and then all of a sudden they hit the jets and made it there quickly. So I think that was enough time for them to do whatever they had to do. You know what I'm saying? Devise a plot and plan to get it done. I don't think they got told, Wiki. Honestly, I don't think they did. Nobody came. They handled that. It was never a bilge pump issue like that.
But how do you know it wasn't a bilge pump though? Have
Did
you
they
ever
get
dealt with a boat
told? That's
in
why I'm
salt
asking.
water?
Did they get told?
Whether
The
they got
video
told or
I
not?
watched
Does
today
anybody
was
know
them
the
getting
T
towed.
reasons? Look that up. Vote. Did they get told? I really need to know that.
There was a video on Officer Tatum's stream today of them getting towed.
Also, Tatum got the stream. I
On
gotta
today's
check that
stream,
out.
on today's stream, there was a video of them getting towed. On his stream
That may
today.
be the case. I've been busy all day getting my stream stuff set up. I've been expanding some software
Yeah, I
here in my
haven't saw
studio,
it.
so I hadn't looked at it today.
But
So
let
I
me
don't know.
say this real quick. So yeah, we don't know the toad thing. People check out to see the toad thing real quick. I want to do a slight change of pace, but still on a similar topic. But there's been a lot of conversations about, again, and I think Dan, you had taken a break real quick when I was saying this earlier, but about not just the topic and people their opinion on the topic, but also their debate or conversation style. So I wanted to add this right here to the conversation and just kind of go around the room. First, say everybody's perspective on it, and then we'll see if the person disagrees or disagrees. But I just want to start with Will. If you can just kind of go around the room and give a pro and a con on each person. A pro, what did you have about the con about the person you have about their debate or discussion style, and then they'll be to agree to disagree after we go around the room and have a conversation about a little bit about how we do it, and maybe for the audience can learn from the conversation about what we think is good, what we think is bad, and why. So I just want to get Will. You can start it off. You could just Reason and Hickett, Wicked, then Dane. Give a pro and a con from your perspective, your opinion, about their debate or conversation style.
I mean, I enjoy conversating with everybody, man.
If you don't have one, it's cool too. We can pass if you don't have one.
Yeah, it was just cool, speaking
but
with
what you got to do is you got to say
man.
Reason. You got to give a pro and a con for him, a pro and a con for Wicked, and a pro and a con for Dane.
Oh, for each person. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
on their conversation and their debate
each
style. Yeah, we can go around each one, and then after that, people can say whether they disagree and why. And hopefully the audience can benefit from it a little bit.
All right. Shit, T Reason, a pro. I like that he's open. To me, it appears. You know what I mean? I think putting everything on the table is something that I can identify with. You know what I mean? As far as some things are just the default of the game in the simulation that we're a part of, you know what I'm saying? And I wish that in the utopia the settings were a little different, but I appreciate that he can recognize, and not just because he's a black dude or nothing like that, but that he could be honest with the fact that, these are the default settings that we deal with. Same like I see certain white people on TikTok say the same thing. They're not shying away from.
What about the con? Sorry, can we get through? What's your con? I mean, if you don't have one, you don't have one. But what's your con about his debate or conversation?
See, I mean, I think sometimes he be going at it with the cats. I like it and shit, going back and forth. But I think probably the strongest strength is letting them get it off and then putting that energy into, using, like his name is T Reason, using that reason to go ahead and dissect that and break that down. Sometimes the boys will get into it and shit. It's just it's funny and shit like that. You know what I mean?
What about above you, Wicked, right there? What's your pro and con, just based off the conversation you've had today? Like his pro and the con. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, shit. I like that. From what I see, he's a willing listener. You know what I'm saying? He said T Reason to cut you off or so, but I don't think Wicked really, from what I observed, cut it off too much when I was trying to express something or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
that's
the pro. What
definitely
about
a
the con?
pro.
You got a con?
I guess it would have to be, you know, somewhat the opposite of what I
He's
was saying
Italian.
about
He's Italian.
huh?
He's
I'm white.
He's
Italian.
Italian.
I'm
That's
white.
enough.
I'm white. You could say it.
That's enough.
Oh,
He's
you're an
Italian.
Italian?
He's Italian. That's enough.
Nah, man, it ain't. Nah. It's not because you white. I think that maybe
Yes,
it's
it
just
is. It's okay.
nah, man. It's just a
I'll give you
different
the
walk
white
of
pass.
life
You
and
can
a
just tell
different
him that.
experience to a degree. You know what I'm saying? But that, like I said, it's people on TikTok that of all complexions that are not afraid to just recognize what it is and what we doing. So I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit, more openness or leaning into that to saying, yo, that's just what it is. The slight pushback. I can't say it's a bad thing because he has his position, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? But I mean, just try to be,
Gotcha.
yeah.
You
Just
gave your pro and your
don't
con. And what about last for
slight
Dane?
wall a little bit when it comes to some shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
my
What
bad,
about
I
for
didn't mean to
Dane?
cuss.
What's your pro and con for Dane?
Oh man, I like the way Dame can kind of analyze and bring an anecdote in a storytelling aspect to it. You know what I'm saying? He'll bring in, I don't know, it's almost kind of grandfatherly. You know what I'm saying? The way he'll break down and then recite something from it. Nah, for real. Something from his personal life or, something from people that he knew, a while back in, 72, 73. It was this guy by the name, or he'll use something from his personal life with his wife as an experience to help shape the point of view and the way my mind works. That helps me. Sometimes you can throw in a human type
tie
of
in some
element.
experience to it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That helps
what about
the
the
way my
con you
mind
got?
works. So I can
If I can
appreciate
respond
that,
to that
man,
real
giving me
quick.
some color commentary along with his position, not just keeping it so
All right,
staunch
Will.
to the, but also throwing in like kind of like a parable to, you know what I mean, to kind of.
Mama always called that bullshit, Will. Mama used
Nah,
to
man, because I do it
That's what that
too.
smell is.
I'm 6'3". I'm not a midget like Wicked. I'm 6'3", and Mama used to look up at me and she'd say, it's amazing that they could pile bullshit that high. That's what Mama used to say to me.
What
All right,
midget look tall on camera,
what's
man.
your
I mean,
con,
Wicked look tall on camera. This is where I'm.
what's your
It's the
con?
It's
angle.
the
Will?
angles. He know how to work them camera angles, man. Look at the refrigerator.
He stand 5 foot nothing.
So Will, what's your con,
I'm only
man?
listen. I'm only 5'7". I ain't that. I'm not short, but I ain't tall.
So what's your con? We try to get through you, man. What's up?
Shit. Oh yeah, man. I'm taking a long time. My bad, man. I
Take your
mean,
time as long as you're complimenting me, man.
Yeah.
I got a
like
hard
Dame right
Wax
life.
now,
long
man.
on that. Long.
nah, man. I mean, shit. You good? I think that maybe the same thing that I find pleasurable and endearing when he breaking his thing down is, you got to make sure to stay with him and follow him, until the end to really try to get what he's saying. I mean, I get it. I think like that, but I don't know if everybody, who might listen, because some people get upset with me with being long-winded for trying to break things down and show an analysis with it and things like that. So I mean, it's not a con necessarily to me, but I can see how some people might get at him like sometimes they get at me for expounding and maybe straying away, but I'm trying to bring it back to a greater point of emphasis at the end. You know what I mean?
Got you.
Is this
Appreciate
your
it.
first time on stream, Will? Is this your first time on the channel?
Nah. I've been on here before, man. A few times back on the gap.
Yeah.
Like on the gap, it's been a while though.
But Vulcan and Freshly and Enos can tell you. I told them when I first started coming on channel, I said, man, you just got to mute me and interrupt me. You can't if you wait for me to like land the plane. You just got to break in. You know, that's just my personality. But anyway, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a problem, man.
So yeah, Wicked pros and cons going around. Hopefully a little bit more quicker than
So let's
Will.
see. Well, we'll start with Dane. Pros would be that he actually tries to stick to the point of whatever is being talked about instead of trying to go off on a tangent. The con would be, see, you just can't ever just stop. We're gonna get to you. Don't worry. Okay. For the con, Dane just don't shut up. Sometimes that'd really be the only con. But now, as far as Will, I would say a pro being that he does seem to be genuine in the conversation. He might have his opinions, but he's at least open to hearing your opinion. It feels like a con. This is my first show with him, so I really not too sure. He was pretty well intact tonight. Didn't really interrupt, unlike some people. He didn't really
get you some
try
tissue.
See, look at you. Look at you. As I'm talking about the person interrupted, here you go. Here he goes. Keep going. He just can't help himself.
You brought me up. Stop being a baby. Stay on topic. Talk about
don't worry. Listen, Princess, we're getting to you. Don't worry, Princess.
Like me, man.
Listen,
don't talk about me. Talk about Will right now.
Listen, I am talking to Will, but you're the one who wants to keep interrupting because you're just like a woman. Just like a woman. God always gotta make it about herself.
Calm your tits.
It's hilarious. You're the one struggling out over here, buddy. Okay. Now let's go over to your reason. He whines, he complains, he just keeps talking and talking, doesn't make any point, thinks he knows everything that he's talking about. I'm being very honest. I'm being very honest right now. We've even had many comments actually agreeing with what I'm saying right now. He just wants to talk to hear himself. He keeps going on tangents, doesn't even talk about what's the point is, thinks that he's always right. And for pros, I really don't have any.
Come on, that's got to be a pro in there. Come on, man. There's got to be a pro.
Oh, a pro. Listen, okay, there is one pro about T Reason is he does that gay ass thing right there. Come on.
Pause. Yeah, pause.
I will give one comment to T Reason is that he does at least want to have the conversation and hear what you have to say. He might not listen to what you're saying, but he's at least going to hear it.
Okay, that's legitimate pro right there. That's rare nowadays. Sorry, so yeah, Dane, what's your pro and con going around?
Which one you want me to start with?
Whoever you feel comfortable starting with, just run through it. Pause.
Well, I've already told Will. I mean, I've enjoyed the back and forth with Will. And everything. I know that he and I come down on the opposite sides of this issue, and probably just based on a lot of the other stuff that he said in this stream, I think that that he and I probably come down on opposite sides of other issues. But what I do appreciate about Will is he doesn't seem to have a personal vendetta. He doesn't seem to be here to defend his manhood or anything like that. So, I mean, I do appreciate that. I think that's good because I think anybody who's going to engage in logical debate, rhetoric, and that sort of stuff, they need to do it devoid of their emotions as much as possible. Now, sometimes I get pissed off too or something like that, especially over on other streams that are more blood sport. But I do appreciate that. You know, I do think that Will's a good faith debater so far. So far with my experience with him. So I do think that's positive. I think that a con for Will, I'd have to stop and really think about that because just in this little interchange, I don't know, a con for him. I don't know, man. He hadn't mailed me that Red Fox shirt, man. I like me some Red Fox. He was funny.
Oh, man.
Especially if you get into his comedy before Sanford and Son. Oh, yeah, he was funny. He was funny.
Yeah.
You saw Harlem Nights?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I watched that the other night.
I saw that in the theater when it came out. That's how old I am. And shut off my pinky toe. That kind of stuff. For Wicked, I think a pro for Wicked is that I think Wicked really is interested in wanting to parse arguments and defend his positions logically. And I think Wicked has a good foundation for that, going back and forth. A con for Wicked, well, let me go back to the pro. You know, he lives he lives one state over from me, but he lives down there where all the Yankees moved, down there in Florida and everything. And the dude mailed me, for y'all who don't know, the dude's like a gourmet chef, actually. That's what he does for a living. The dude shipped me and my wife some Italian amaretto cookies the other day. It's they were made out of almond paste, not flour, and they was in the shape of a S, which is my last name, my initial. So yeah, I got to add that in on the pro, and I want to know when's my next batch of cookies coming. Wicked.
That sounds really good. I'm not gonna lie, man.
God dog, you know, I did smell of it a little bit, and I thought about having some forensic work done on it before I ate it, but I'm
Nah, I
300.
wouldn't do that.
I'm 309 pounds for a reason, so I went ahead and ate them. But yeah, that's Wicked. I think the con for Wicked, I think that Wicked would be a much better debater if he'd slow his mind down a little bit. And I know that's hard to do when you're dealing with somebody like our buddy right over here, this dude. But if he'd slow down in his responses, if he would slow that down a little bit and go like more one point at a time, because sometimes when you get in a hurry like that, it's like if you're physically fighting with somebody and you just slinging hands versus you're a lot more tactical, tag and move, jab and move versus just slinging. I think sometimes he gets so caught up in but he and I both come from more blood sport debating where you kind of have to do that. It's more like a street fight.
He's not lying about that.
Yeah.
That is a fact.
Yeah, so I think that's good. For T Reason over here, a pro for T Reason, he does not let, let me see how I can word this without sounding like I'm being a smart aleck. Like, he
Doesn't let facts get in the way of his feelings.
No. But I'll be glad to finish this. Man, them damn Italians, they just want to talk over everything. Man, look, you don't have your turn, man. Shut up. He does not let facts get in the way of his confidence. And I think that's a great thing. He is confident in his position regardless of whether or not the facts support it. And that's a good thing for people. And the con for T Reason is that he does not let the fact, he delivers his ideas with the confidence of someone that the facts agree with him. So yeah, he's bold, he's confident. He doesn't let logic and facts get in the way of his position. Do I get to give a pro and a con for you, Vulcan?
You can. I wasn't on the panel, so I'm not gonna, because after this, y'all got to say whether y'all did agree or disagree. I won't participate in that, but you can still give one.
The pro for Vulcan. There was a guy over here in my stream chat that is another streamer, and I'm not gonna name him because I don't want to. He probably wouldn't care, but I'm not gonna name him. But he has some serious white nationalist leanings. Okay. But it's like I was telling him, I've been in situations on this panel going back and forth with different guests that looked a lot more like you than me. And a situation where, and I'm sure Wicked's been in this position before, where you be in the right, but because the supervisor or the leader or whatever was black, and the guy you were in the right against was black, then the supervisor would at least shunt the truth or kind of dull that down a little bit to at least protect the other black guy a little bit or whatever. And it's like I was telling this guy in my stream, in my chat on my stream, that I've been in positions where you could have done that. You could have stepped up in the name of blackness and at least moved the conversation on, if nothing else. Been like, okay, Dane, we're going to move on. And like I was telling him, I've never had that happen. So I'm committed to the idea that you and Freshly and Enos are really interested in parsing out these questions based on solid, logical reasoning. And that's been a foundational philosophy of my life since at least my 20s, was that I wanted to know what was true, regardless of who it connected me with or separated me from and everything. And I think that I found a kindred spirit in you. So, and I do appreciate that. And I told this guy that, because like I said, you know, he's a friend, like a parasocial friend, online friend, but he does hold a low view of black people. So that's why I was telling him that case. So I would say that, and I tell everybody how you look like. Serious business, Will. Vulcan looks like my youngest son, but black. It's wild, man. If I had your email or something, I'd send you a picture of my youngest son. His name Jude, and it was weird, man. The first time Vulcan popped up on a panel, it was over on David Cooley's No Fugazi podcast. Wicked was there. He popped up. I was like, Black Jude, because he looks like my son Jude, but he's black. So that's a
I remember I
positive
told you
too.
to get a DNA test.
Yeah. Oh, I done asked my father-in-law. Where he was at. You know, if he been out over there where he's from or not. Like, come on now.
Both of their names start with a J.
I appreciate that. Yes. So shout out. So yeah,
great granddaddy.
It's on you, big dog.
Yeah.
Go ahead and cover it.
So I get to give pros and cons to the panel.
Yes. Yes.
It was a good panel tonight. Starting with Will, I think this is my first time really being on for a whole show with him. But his debate style, I like the way he brings his points up. I think he does a good job of bringing his argument into the conversation, and I think he has a lot of good points that make you think about things probably in a way you hadn't thought about it before. So I think he does a good job with positioning his argument. He's very consistent with what he's saying. And so far, everything he's saying has brought value to the conversation that we had for every single topic. So I think his debate style is really good. Now, the con that I have is that a lot of times when he's actually making his points, he don't get to finish, or we move on before only problem I have is that he be cooking up so much. I'll be like, let him just keep on going, because he's bringing so much into the conversation to answer the question. I think a lot of what he said brought a lot of value, and I like his debate style. That's all I got to say about Will. And now for Wicked, I think Wicked, his debating is very principled in debate structure. I think he understands the structure of how debate should take place, the form, how to form an argument, how to counter an argument, how to propose, how to define terms. I think he's good at understanding how a logical debate is supposed to take place. Now, the con is I don't think he actually knows how to do it. So the flip side of that is he struggles where he'll get into a conversation and he'll go off topic from what the original debate topic was, and he'll restructure what you're saying to fit an argument he can win. Maybe that might be considered a pro, but to me, that's a con, because now I look at that as you're off topic and you're not actually sticking to what we actually are trying to prove the point on. You're kind of taking it left field. And that's pretty much what I got to say about him. And as far as Dane, you want the long list or the short list for the pros and the cons? Okay. I've been debating with this guy for a while, and he's a good debater. I will say he's one of the better debaters I've debated with. I do like to hear what he has to say sometimes. The pro is that Dane can talk forever. Okay, he got a lot to say. If you pass Dane the mic, it don't matter if he heard the question or not. He got something to say. All right, and he gonna give it to you, and you're not gonna change his standpoint. He gonna ride his standpoint out till the wheels fall off. He gonna grandpappy pod you to death. Okay, but the con is he don't stop talking. Okay, he'll make point after point, irrelevant point after irrelevant point, and then he done made so many bad points you can't even counter him because you don't know where you want to start your argument, because he done went on this long diatribe about everything. He went on this long-winded rant, and he like, man, I wanted to say something about that, but by the time he got the end of what he's saying, he done said so many other things. He might actually say something you agree with, so you let him make it. You don't really have that real debate that you could have had. That's why I got to use my damn notepad now, because
That's my son Jude. This is an old picture of him too. Don't he look like Vulcan? Don't he look like Vulcan?
What's crazy is Jude's nose is blacker than mine.
This dude, in this picture right here is probably 10 years old, man. Probably 10 years old. So
Man.
he got some
Is
age
that the
on him
blackest
since
nose
then.
you ever seen on a white guy
Now
before?
look,
That is crazy.
now look, I don't want to get into too many details and being appropriate, but my wife and both her sisters are bottom heavy, right? And everything. And my wife got big nostrils. And I told her when we was dating, I said, there got to be a black woman in y'all background somewhere. Y'all got them heavy bottoms and them big nostrils. And my father-in-law,
man.
my future father-in-law at the time, he didn't think I was too funny, but I counted that as a positive myself, man. I'm telling you. But
All I
yeah,
know is you and Vulcan got the same great uncle.
Great. Yeah.
somewhere. Because you
So,
know
hey.
the South's always been integrated at night. That's what we say.
Yeah,
It's always been integrated at night.
Oh man. So Theresa, did you finish what you were saying? You got anything else you want to add?
I mean, that goes back to another con. I mean, he interrupted me before I finally got to my final point. Of how
My apologies, T. Reason. I will apologize to you on that because I didn't realize that y'all's tab was unmuted. I was talking to my chat when I was first talking about him. When I first talked about you, I didn't realize I was unmuted till y'all stopped talking. But I will apologize to you about that because I am a man of honor. Take note.
And that's probably the last one. He be having a lot of technical difficulties where he be muting his mic and then he'll talk and his lips will be moving, but we don't hear nothing he's saying. Or,
that's when I'm talking to my real friends.
He'll do a stream and then sometimes it'll glitch out. So other than
that's
that,
true.
yeah, no.
That is true.
So let me say this right here. So now this is a chance to cross-examine anybody on anything they said, as well right now. I'm gonna take a little baño break real quick.
I got a question. Can you tell me what an ad hom is?
Obviously, it's insult that goes against the original, that has nothing to do with the original argument. It's like
actually it's using an insult as the excuse as your argument. So me calling you stupid is not an ad hom. Me saying you're stupid because of this and that the reason, that would be the ad hom.
So that goes back to a pro that you have, is you understand how to logically have a debate. You have the tools. The problem is you don't know how to use them.
No, the problem is you don't know how to understand a hypothetical.
When it comes to having a great debate, but then you don't know how to use them.
The biggest problem is you don't know how to interpret hypotheticals because
like that went over your head and you're still on it and you're going to lose the debate on the hypothetical.
Because you don't know how to use a hypothetical and you don't know what an ad hom is.
When you use the hypothetical, it didn't matter because it had to be something that could actually take place to be used in that debate for a hypothetical.
And that is why you don't know why hypotheticals work or what hypotheticals are. You're proving my point. Thank you.
I know you don't.
So again, look up the definitions of these things and then come back to me and you'll be like, you know what? I was wrong. I can guarantee you. I will bet money on this for you. I will bet money. How much you want to bet? How much would you like to bet on this that you don't know?
If you send me your address,
I've never given you an ad hom argument and you don't know how to understand the hypothetical.
I think it'll do you some justice.
You believe that hypotheticals have to actually happen in real life in order for them to be actual hypothetical.
No. There's times when a hypothetical can be talking about a unicorn or talking about, traveling light years away. But in the situation we were talking about, the hypothetical becomes irrelevant if it doesn't actually happen in reality. That's the thing that we were talking about. We were talking about an actual situation that does happen on a consistent basis. And then you brought up a hypothetical as if it was going to discredit something that's actually happening.
Right, because reality a hypothetical is used to test your logic to see if you're consistent.
Reality overrides a hypothetical when you're talking
What's the purpose? What is the purpose of a hypetical?
Just to show you something that could potentially take place, something that could potentially happen.
Wicked. Yeah. Real quick. If you look right here, you see this chat from my chat right here this is about you and T Reason, and I'm just glad that you got that slot.
What does that say?
It says they need marriage counseling.
Nah, he just need to shut up when I'm talking, and that's what he need to do.
That's what most wives say about
have a show together, man. Y'all like Stephen A. and Skip, man.
Then you've never hold on. If that's what you think, then you've never seen Dane and T Reason go at it. This is nothing in comparison.
Yeah,
we've been divorced. T Reason.
This is nothing.
No. T Reason was my side chick. And I done repented and I done found Jesus and got my world together. I'm working on my marriage. I'm trying to work out my marriage.
Who's the common cold, man? They got jokes, whoever that is, man. Who is that?
Oh, yeah, he been clowning all night.
Yeah, that
Even the
motherfucker got
comments,
jokes, like for real.
back to back. He had a
I like it
unlimited
though.
clip
But now,
of jokes.
seriously, Will, if you get over into these streams like Speakeasy and the Indian Jesus and them, you'll see a whole bunch of that stuff where the chat will be just roasting the panelists, man. It's
I'm
bad.
Oh, the
gonna
It's
have
chat
to
fun,
is.
but
check
it's
them
bad.
out, man.
I'm not
I
gonna lie.
hadn't
Listen,
heard
the
of
chat
them.
is
I'm gonna have
always
to check them out.
the chat is always a fun
Speakeasy
place
and
to hang
who?
out.
The
One of them is
Indian.
called Speakeasy, and that's spelled with a Z, not a S. Speakeasy, one word. David Cooley, though, we'll roast him a lot too on No Fugazi, Fugazee, No Fugazi. That's where I found Black Jude over here. He popped up on a panel one time. And I was like, at first I wanted to get on to him because I thought it was my son wearing blackface. And I was like, you wasn't raised like that, boy. And I
You
thought, no,
got
that ain't
raised
him.
like that.
And another one, let's see that the Indian Jesus, and it's because that dude is half Indian, half Japanese, and his little mantra he says is resurrecting the second coming of common
Common
sense.
sense.
So he calls himself the Indian Jesus, and that dude's really entertaining. He's been on stream here a couple times. But yeah, you get into those debate streams, you'll see a lot of that chat, man. You'll think they hate the panelists, they hate the host, but it's
Him and
all
T
in good
Reason
fun.
that went at it, some good times. Wicked has too with him, but yeah.
The gloves came off a few times.
Yeah.
I had to check it out, man. I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah, he'll be both. Actually, both of them are actually going to be live tomorrow on Tuesdays. They go live.
And what Speakeasy will do too, he has a thing he called Verbal Combat. His whole stream is themed with like video game kind of stuff. And he has Verbal Combat where it's like a tournament set up for debaters. And if you survive Verbal Combat, you actually win dinero. I've seen Leah Bobia, who keeps popping up on text comments. She's over here on my stream too, while I'm highlighting her comments. She won Verbal Combat here, I don't know, about a month or so ago. I think she got something like $700.
I think it's like $1,000 he does.
Oh wow!
I think he does $1,000. I think he does like $1,000 or something like that.
Even if you don't think your skills are as sharp as they should be, you ought to go check out Verbal Combat and sharpen those skills just for the fun of it. And you might.
We're gonna be giving out
$1,000. I need that.
Food stamps and TANF will be giving out next time for anybody that wins the debate.
That's racist.
It's 2 for 1.
I'm gonna warn you though. Speakeasy, it looks like gonorrhea. He looked like gonorrhea. Am I lying, Wicked?
He looks like Post Malone.
Oh no, he looked way more like an STD than Post Malone.
No, like not like updated Post Malone, like when Post Malone first came out. Post Malone.
No, he looked like Post Malone after the crack epidemic and the meth addiction. That might be, but no, I'm just playing with Speakeasy. He's a good dude. I enjoy his stream. I'm making fun of him and everything. But when you go to Speakeasy stream and you first see him, it could be a little jarring.
But yeah, so y'all, before I close this out, anybody got any more comments they want to make on any of the pros and cons they heard? They want to dispute anything? They agree with it all? Anybody got anything? Are we good? Just for the audience, y'all, that's a good peer review right there. I mean, whether you respect it, you don't respect it, you agree, you disagree, you care, you don't care, getting that peer review at least to hear from somebody else's mouth. There's 2 verses that come to my mind. One that says a rebuking tongue will receive more honor than a flattering tongue. Another one says as open rebuke is better than hidden love. And then I could throw a third one in there. The person who presents their case first seems right until somebody else comes and cross-examines them. So that's what it's about. That's the spirit of it, man. We're going to be open to criticism, open to cross-examination, because you may be wrong and you just haven't had anybody challenge you enough yet to see it. So, yeah, this is the Vulcan Soapbox. And we appreciate everybody that tuned in. Like, subscribe, share. Make sure you join the Big Daddy Podcast. I know T Reason's got something cooking up. Anything you want to say, T Reason, on that? Is it ready yet?
Coming soon. Yeah, we're going to get the channel popping. We definitely going to talk about a lot of stuff. We're going to talk about boxing, sports, current events, all that.
Y'all gonna discuss do boxers fight with a passion or not? Y'all gonna finish that debate? No.
Oh yeah, we had that talk too. Maybe I have him on Wicked because obviously Wicked probably watches a little bit boxing too, so we could talk about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then Wicked. Will, go ahead, and then I know Dan. Dan bringing you in next. I know you said something. Will, anything we look out for you on, or any?
Oh man, just been a pleasure, fellas. I enjoyed the conversation. Look forward to doing it again sometime, man.
Likewise. Yeah, we
And
definitely
then-
got to have you back on, man. You had some good insight, man.
Yeah,
Definitely did.
Will has been on like at least 5 shows at least, right? Maybe
Yeah, this is
more.
I think this is the
hell
first
yeah,
time
at
he's been
least
on
5.
when I've been on. He
It's
probably
just been-
been
it's
on
just-
many times, but usually it's just me and these oofs up here. So, you know, it's nice to have somebody that have a similar thought on a lot of the topics and, you know, align with a lot of things I believe too. So
Yeah, for sure. Wicked, you got anything you want to share before we get to Dane?
Yeah, I
Cookies.
mean, I'd just say, you know, you guys, I mean, I could always share that. You know, you could just look out for me leaving your girlfriend's room, and that's really about it.
player, don't hate the player, hate the game.
He ain't climbing out the window though, because his little legs are too short to get out the window.
What do you mean? I'm already halfway there.
All right,
anyway.
Dane, what you got, Dane?
Yeah. I just want to say, man, I know that because if I could just let a little bit of back office stuff public, and I know T Reason, you said T Reason was telling you the same thing about this issue with Nolan Wells. I think it was really like dare I use a very feminine descriptor and say courageous and brave for you to venture off into this particular situation with your podcast, as young as it is, recently monetized. You see, I mean, I appreciate that, man. You know, if for those of you who I know weren't privy to our phone conversation between me and James, I told him, I said, man, look, I would really like for you to like address this, but you're gonna have to be careful and you got to be quick in moderation because it could go left real easily because it's such a hot button topic. But I don't know what process you used to choose the panelist. It may have been a very judicious process. I mean, or it may have been you brought on whoever the hell had the time and was willing to come on if there was a warm body, and it just worked out well. But I do appreciate you providing a platform for it. Because, I mean, you brought in 3 white guys and 3 black guys, and that you knew at least the 3 white guys in Felicia was going to be at odds with one another staunchly, and probably that the other 2 black guys, that there could have been some bad shit said, and there could have been some hard feelings and some hate. And I'm glad there wasn't. I think it was a great stream. I enjoyed it, man, but I think credit goes to you. And I am not kissing up your little Italian, so don't be talking about I'm sucking up to Vulcan. I'm just calling it like it is, man. I think credit goes to you, man, because I think it really takes a lot.
Yeah,
And
appreciate
honestly,
it, man.
I think this kind of stuff is really what we need to have more of, you know, to be able to get there from here. So that's just what I'm saying and everything. So it's been a
About
great
the Big Daddy
stream.
Pod, what you got on that?
The Big Daddy Pod, man, I just got enough subscriptions about 200 subs ago to get monetized. I'm trying to get my watch hours up. You know how they do, man. You got to have at least 300 watch hours for the first step, 3,000, 4,000 watch hours to get fully monetized. So I could show y'all kind of here. Man, I got a whole bunch of like stuff I done spent money on, you know, equipment and stuff. Golly, man. Miss Deidre, she keeps making me do sexual favors to pay for it and everything. And I didn't mind that when we first started. I
gotta
didn't
work
mind
a
when we
little
first
harder,
started,
man.
but I'm 55 years old, man. I'm killing my liver
checks
with all
get
this
bigger, man.
That's
Viagra.
Misandry. That's Misandry right there.
Yeah, I'm killing my liver with all this Viagra. So I need
Put that
I
work
need folks,
in, man.
even if you
Hey,
don't
you're
like
getting-
me, come watch my streams, get my watch hours up so I can start getting paid, man. So I
Hey,
can
at
get
least
some
you're getting
sleep
workout at the
night.
same time.
Man, I can't hardly get no sleep, man. I got insomnia. She just, but anyway.
Yeah, appreciate that. Well, hey, fellas, thanks for coming on the show. We had a great time in the Vulcan Soapbox. See y'all next Monday. We out.
And we out. Yeah.